Hello, hello, hi, hi everyone. Hi, 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 hi. Okay, okay. Who do we have here? Who do we have here? Let me take a look. Let me take a look. All right, who do we got? Who do we got? We got. I am here. Hello, Radon. Okay. Who do we got here? We got Doug on the left. Hello, Doug on the left. Yes, I did see that. Charlie Kirk is being the conservatives are pushing for Charlie Kirk to be put on our money. Great. I mean, he would fit in with all the other slave owners and stuff on there, right? I mean, anyway. Okay. All right. What else we got here? Toy. Hello, Victoria. Hello, Victoria. Radon. Hello, Radon. Radon. Would you remind me, maybe go back to the React channel and ping what you sent? Um, I don't think I have anything pulled up of yours today, but maybe I missed something, okay? Um, Alyssa's here. Hello, Alyssa. And we have Meowzord. By the way, thank you, Meowzord, for the new overlay that we have on my screen here. Um, Okay, you're right, Doug, okay. If you see I might need to adjust it a bit, but this is our new overlay here, made by by Meowzord. You can see a little fire in the jest if you look down there, the two little jesters with little fire in their hands. Isn't that great? Okay. Um, I might need to adjust it a bit. I think the image is a bit. Let me actually if I pull it down. Nope, not that. I want to pull this down so that there's not a black line there. I could fix it a bit. Well, regardless, it looks good. So anyway, okay. Who else we got here? Mithril. Hello, Mithril. Demosthenes, Ecuar Demosthenes. Hello, Demosthenes. Yay is here. Hello, good day to you too, Yay. I would love to dance to some medieval banners, Yay. Love it. Lee Lane. Hello, Lee Lane. Okay. Let's see here. Am I missing anyone here? I know Radon, right? It's good music, right? I agree. Okay. Vexed. Hello, Vexed. Vexed is here. Okay. Um, uh, all right. I'm missing a Jazznaz. Hello, Jazznaz. Okay. And Alan. Hello, Alan. I know, right? The right will create a level of woke we've never seen before by forcing all of this Charlie Kirk stuff on us. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Nope. Oh, hello, Robert. Robert's here. Okay. Uh, okay. I just missed someone here. Who did I miss? Who did I miss? Thank you, Radon, for pinging me again. No, Mithril. Unfortunately, MLK is not on any of our money. Shocking. I mean, not that shocking, but yeah, should be. Same thing with Harriet Tubman, not on our money. Um, Radon, yeah, maybe. Well, I'll have to take a look at it. If it's something that he and I can react to, maybe my dad and I will react to it. Okay, all right, folks. So, hi. So I got on a bit earlier than I thought I would be getting on, because there is a press conference scheduled for 1:15. And it's gonna be you all are gonna love this, okay? It's gonna be Trump and Netanyahu doing a press conference. So I have that pulled up on my other screen here, and as soon as they go live, we will go over to that, okay? Um, also, oh, Radon, I think I know which one it is. Is it the one with them interviewing people in the UK, and interviewing really bad racists in the UK? Because that would be fantastic. Um, thank you, Lee. Yes, so folks, um, okay, we please like the stream if you haven't already. I also haven't set a goal yet. I know it won't, Alyssa. And it definitely won't start on time. So we'll start other stuff too in the meantime. So I'm setting a goal here. Um, the goal will be for if we get one super chat, uh, I'll set it for 5 for now. If we get one super chat, it'll be the jester hat. One equals jester hat. Okay. 3 equals uh, jester collar, and then 5 equals makeup. Okay. So if we get there, we'll do that, and then we'll start another one after that. So there's the goal. Um, also, also, what else was I going to say here? If you want to become I've got to do my little self promotion crap here. If you want to become a member, you can click the join button and beneath the video, and you will be able to get a cute little gesture hat next to your name and access to all these cute little emojis that you can find here in chat. And if you're over there on Twitch, you can, if you subscribe, you can subscribe using Amazon Prime for free. And you also get access to some cute emojis and things like that. Um, and you can follow me as well. And if you subscribe on Twitch, you don't have to see any ads. Okay. Um, Give me a second here, folks. I'm still trying to. How do I? There we go. I need to fix something here real fast. Mm, Camera control focus is auto. Okay, excellent. Okay, never mind. Everything's good. Okay, so uh, that's right. That is a good point, Alan. And Twitch subscriptions are 30% off until the end of September. So that's fantastic. Okay, Weird Amorphous Blob. Hello. Um. Okay. Oh, I know, Mithril. Goody. Oh, yeah, Mithril. Oh, goody. I get to watch my countrymen being vile and forgetting what World War II was all about. Oh, I know, Mithril. I know. Oh, the horrors. We feel the same way here, I'm sure, Mithril. Okay. My grandfather fought the Nazis, and yet we're being taken over by them. Okay, guys. So I have the press conference up here. When they go live, we'll switch over to that. In the meantime, I wanted to talk to you all about something, okay? So we'll do that. So, let me go back over to let me move this over here. So, let us talk about something called post-truth. Post-truth. Okay, let me pull it up here. Uh, all right. Okay. So let me overlay scene. I might take a moment for my face to appear. Let's see here. There we go. Okay. So, it's a little cut off there. I can move that around again. I'm still 100%. Oh, you're sending the presentation now. Thank you, Meowzord. Give me a second, folks. Meowzord made a lovely presentation for me. I'm going to check it out here so that because mine is not nearly as pretty as Meowzord's is. Meowzord is much better at this stuff than I am. Let me see here. We're going to talk about post-truth while we wait for the press conference. It was pretty good, Alan. It was pretty good. It, yeah, it wasn't bad. I felt bad though. The day before I left, my internet went out. And as a matter of fact, it went out again today before I started streaming. But it was a fine trip. It was enjoyable to visit family, see some friends over in Indy. Exactly, Fox Emblem, 1984, 100%. So, all right, Meowzord. Hello, Dally Boy. Meowzord, did you send it over on Twitch? Is that where you sent it? So, see, I need to fix the sizing of these things so that it looks a little better. Bear with me here, folks. Uh, Let me see here. There it is. Yep. Thank you, Meowzord. Ah, this is even better. This is fantastic. Thank you, Meowzord. Okay. So, now then, is there a way to how do I actually present it? Present it. There we go. I'll figure it out. Uh, Need to remind myself how to do this. Present. There we go. Okay. Present. Okay. Oh my God, Meowzord, this looks amazing. Thank you, Meowzord. This looks amazing. This is much better than the one I had. Okay. Okay, this is fantastic. All right. So we're going to talk today about post-truth. Okay. And thank you, Meowzord, for the little thing in the upper right-hand corner. Lovely. Okay. Yeah, exactly, JDH. We're waiting for it to start, but once it starts, I'll go right to it. But it should start. It's scheduled for 1:15, but I assume they'll probably be late like normal. So okay. So let's start talking about this. As soon as that press conference goes live, we'll go over there. Okay. So post-truth. Now, post-truth, all right. I'm weaving a story for you. Okay. I'm weaving a story. This is a braided, there's a way of writing, in literature and academia called a braided essay, where it's kind of like a bunch of separate things that kind of braid together to form a whole. I like approaching things this way, so I kind of did a braided presentation here. So we're going to have several topics that are short, that they all kind of have a whole. All right. And that's kind of what post truth is about. Okay. Post truth has a bunch of different discussions around it and and a number of different fields and a number of different perspectives. So I'm going to kind of tell you certain parts of it and kind of braid it together for you for a whole. This is really good looking now. So, anyway, okay. All right. So, what is post truth? Great question. Um, so, post truth, excuse me, post truth refers to a cultural and political, I know, right, Alan? Okay, a cultural and political environment where objective facts are less influential in shaping public opinion than appeals to emotion and personal belief. Okay. I think we all know what this is like, right? We're living in one. Okay. In this landscape, so in a sort of post-truth era, truth and falsehood, the distinction between truth and falsehood is frequently blurred, and misinformation can spread more easily than factual information. All right. This has been talked about for a while in academic circles. It really kicked up though in 2016. I'm sure you can all guess why. So there are a bunch of elements to this, and again, I'm weaving a story here. We will get into some of those, the parts of that weave. Okay. Uh, they're exactly a Fox emblem. Okay. Absolutely, Dolly Boy. Nigel Farage talking about swan. Yeah, call Nigel Farage talking about swans. Exactly. Okay. So let's go on. So here are the 5 things we're going to be talking about. I'm going to weave together for you. Okay. The first one is the counter enlightenment. All right. We're going to be jumping around, but you'll see what I mean. There's a cohesive whole here. So counter enlightenment. Let's talk about that. So the Enlightenment. Oh, thank you, Malzo, for adding that extra picture. Amazing. Okay. The Enlightenment. We've talked a little bit about the Enlightenment, right? The Enlightenment was a movement in the 17th to 18th centuries. Okay. Um, it's centered in Europe, but it was spread across the world. All right. Oh, 100% BK, 100%. Okay. Hey, AG, welcome. Welcome, AG. Okay. We're going to be reacting to something of yours today, AG, by the way. Okay. Philosophers like, we talked about some of these guys already. John Locke, Voltaire, Montesquieu, and Immanuel Kant challenged old traditions and promoted the use of reason and science to improve society. Descartes was part of this tradition. Okay. This movement, it criticized absolute monarchy, superstition, and questioned religious authority. All right. And the Enlightenment laid the groundwork for modern democracies, revolutions, rights-based societies, influencing events like the American and French revolutions. Okay, we've talked about this. You have an image over here of a classic Enlightenment picture. All these men, because a lot of it was centered around men. Got to be honest with you. Hey, Drusilla. Okay, kind of looking around this light. Okay, and you have a bunch of folks down here. Is sitting around probably talking about stuff. Okay, talking about Enlightenment stuff. Okay, now, so these are some of the main ideas of the Enlightenment, right? Um, right, BK, right? Okay. Matt Saigai, hello, Matt Saigai. Okay, so the ideas of the Enlightenment were generally this: reason is more important than tradition. Decisions should be based on logic and evidence, not inherited beliefs. Makes sense, right? Individual rights and liberty. Every person has a natural right to freedom, life, and property. Okay, that is straight out of Locke. All right. Uh, Philosophers. Robert, okay. Equality before the law. Law should apply to all citizens, not just the wealthy or the nobles. Okay. Religious tolerance. People should be free to practice any religion or none at all. And lastly, here, progress in education. Human society can improve through learning, innovation, and open debate. Okay. So we've talked about these things before. These are the ideals of the Enlightenment. Okay. Thank you, Matt Saigai. Yes, this is my kafia. This is my kafia because if we're going to be watching the genocidal maniac and his supporter give a talk, I'd rather make myself feel a little better at least by doing something symbolic and wearing a kafia during it. Okay. All right. So that's the Enlightenment. Now, here we get to the counter Enlightenment. Uh, do we know here on mainland Europe? This is great, Meowzord. Okay. On mainland Europe, the Enlightenment was associated with which country? Which country do you think was most associated with the Enlightenment based off what we've talked about in the past? Now, there are one of two I suspect people will answer, but there's one, but we're talking mainland Europe, so not the UK. What country do you think was most associated with the Enlightenment? Someone tell me in chat here. Uh, and if not, it's okay. No, Robert. Close though. France. Thank you, Dally Boy. Thank you. It was France, okay? Because a lot of these philosophers were from France. So for a lot of people in mainland Europe, they associated France with the Enlightenment. Now, we haven't talked about this yet, but sort of near the concluding part of the first French Revolution, a dictator took over France, and his name was Napoleon Bonaparte. All right. So let me go on here. So I wrote on this slide, Avatar of the Enlightenment, Napoleon Bonaparte. Okay. That's okay, Robert. No problem. Okay. So he begins a series of wars called the Napoleonic Wars, where he essentially conquered. That's okay, Mithril. It's okay. I wanted people to guess, so it's good. Okay. He conquered most of Europe. Okay. I'm not like I'm not exaggerating here. I'd say he conquered a lot of Europe. He never managed to conquer the UK. He never managed to conquer Russia, amongst some other places, but he conquered a lot of Europe. Okay. And when he conquered these places, he basically brought Enlightenment ideas with him and enforced them upon the people in those areas. Okay. In the minds of like many European elites in these countries that he's conquered, they associated in their minds, um, yeah, Dolly Boy, okay? And one of the reasons for that, Dolly Boy, was because of the Napoleon. A lot of those German states had been occupied by Napoleon or turned into vassals of France. Okay. In the minds of many European elites, the Enlightenment was conflated with French imperialism. So in a lot of people's minds in Europe, okay, they they had trouble separating the conquests of Napoleon from the Enlightenment. That the fact that the Enlightenment had been forced upon them by this foreign conqueror and ruler. Okay. So, which gave rise to a counter Enlightenment movement, this movement that was against the principles of the Enlightenment. Okay. There were several of these, but the one we're going to talk about today is called Romanticism. Okay. Hello, Maisie. Romanticism. Um, he did Fox Emblem. He got very lucky with that. Okay. So, especially in Germany, all right, there was a massive counter movement that was sort of a resistance movement intellectually called Romanticism. And let's go to this next slide here. So, Romanticism was an intellectual movement that basically was the inverse of the Enlightenment. And the basic idea here was that it advocated for the importance of the subjective. So, how you feel, right, matters more than what you think. The imagination. The imagination was more important than reality to the Romanticists. And there was a strain of Romanticism that was very much about nature for the sake of nature, the beauty of nature, and things like that. Which kind of went against the Enlightenment mechanistic view of the world as being all about science and things like that. Okay. So this was sort of a rebellion, an intellectual rebellion against Romanticism. I mean, against the Enlightenment. Romanticism was, okay? Now, there were three, let me go back here. There were three countries. There you go, BKK. Exactly. There were three countries in particular that Napoleon marched his armies into that are relevant to what we're talking about here. One was Germany, which didn't exist at the time. It was a bunch of different states, but the region of Germany, Italy, and Spain. Now, what happens later in history in those three countries? Yes, Mithril. William Wordsworth was a romanticist from the UK. Absolutely. Okay. He was definitely a big romanticist. Okay. There you go, Dolly Boy. Ding, 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 ding. Fantastic. Dolly Boy, BK. Okay. Yes. Doug on the left. Yes. Okay. So, is that a coincidence? Is it a coincidence that the three countries that Napoleon sort of marched into and enforced Enlightenment values on later would become fascists? Some historians say no, that's not a coincidence. Because if you view the Enlightenment as in thinking rationally, caring about science, about rights and things like that, there you go, BK, the imperial boomerang. If you have that in your mind, that the Enlightenment is an oppressive force, you're more willing to overthrow the Enlightenment and view it as a foreign imposition. Okay. And so what ends up happening here, folks, is that sort of idea of, now I'm way oversimplifying here, but I'm making a general point. You should read more about it if you're more interested, folks. I'm oversimplifying. But when you mix romanticism with ultranationalism, it's basically just fascism. Okay. So a lot of these countries had this romanticist notion because of Napoleon's conquest. They mixed it with an ultranationalism after World War I, and it kind of turned into this fascist stew. Okay. And some historians argue that fascism at its core is a rejection of the Enlightenment. Um, and we've talked before about palingenetic ultranationalism, okay, which is a romanticist vision of a mythical past mixed with ultranationalism. Okay. Okay. Robert, yeah, good. Yes, Robert. Our contemporary postmodern romanticism, ultranational, 100%, Robert. Oh, yes, Robert. Okay, you're right on track there. Okay, JDH. Isn't that ironic? The Enlightenment sought to escape religious oppression, but just went to their own flavor. It is JDH, right? And that's what's kind of weird, right, about the Enlightenment. There are a lot of positives about the Enlightenment, but at the same time, yeah. You see what I'm saying, JDH? It was like a forced thing on a lot of people. So, the Enlightenment is about truth, is it not? It's about trying to discover truth out there in the world. So, what emerged in places like Italy, Spain, and Germany after World War I was a post-truth society that was like, we don't care about facts, we don't care about what's real. Die Welt ist meine Vorstellung, that German phrase I've told you all before. The world is whatever my idea of it is. Okay, and uh, uh, you see what I mean? Okay, and so that is one way that these post-truth societies came about after rejecting the Enlightenment. Okay, Mithril. I'm in many ways a romanticist, but it sent me very leftwards. Mithril, I would say I'm partially a romanticist too. I make it sound like romanticism is a bad thing. I don't think it is. I think that you can have a integration of Enlightenment ideas and the romanticist ideas, and I think that's good. This romanticist, and I also like romanticist view of nature as this beautiful thing and things like that. So that's great, Mithril. Good to see you're a romanticist. Okay, romanticists are great. Okay, but you can see, and romanticism in itself isn't bad. It's when it's mixed with ultranationalism that it becomes a big issue. Okay, all right. So, um, oh, did I go backwards? I think I went backwards. There we go. Okay, so there we go. Thank you, Matt Saiga. Okay, so that is our first little weave. Okay, our next little weave. Okay, there you go, Meowsart. I love it. Sober romanticism versus drunken stupid romanticism. 100%. Okay. Um. Yeah, correct, Robert. There is some use to postmodernism. I am not a big fan of Foucault. We can talk about that at some point, but he is a useful method for analyzing certain things. Correct, Robert. Okay, so there's my first little weave here. Now, before I go on, let me just check. I don't hear. Yep, still nothing on the. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing the Mango Mussolini. Okay, so now let's go on to the next part of what I'm talking about here. Remember, we're talking about what post-truth means. So there's one historical example of what post-truth is. Let's move on to post-truth language, okay? So, anyone wanting to read more about this particular part of the presentation, I highly recommend this book right here in my hand. It's called Surviving Autocracy by Masha Gessen. And I posted it in our Discord. Thank you, Matt Saigai, for the super chat. Thank you, Matt Saigai. Welcome back. Thank you, Matt Saigai. Yeah, well, I'm very happy to be back. I feel bad that I went away for a few days there. Thank you. So we got enough for the jester hat. There. Think I need a new mic because this one just keeps cutting out randomly. Anyway, okay, so if you see right next to me here, oh, wait, no, how do I? There we go. Right there on the screen, there's a little QR code. If you scan that, you can also send me something on Buy Me a Coffee. It's also linked to the top of the page, and those will also count towards the super chat goal. We just need 2 more, and I'll put on the Jester collar. Okay. All right. So, anyway, I highly recommend this book, Surviving Autocracy. This is they are, Macy. They're trying to silence me. Okay. This is Masha Gessen is a hero of mine. They're a brilliant writer. And they escaped They escaped Russia. They are non-binary. They're also a brilliant academic, and they wrote this book after getting out of Russia. They write a lot for different American media outlets, and this is a very brilliant book. If you look, I don't know if you can. Well, I'm not going to show you here, but I have a bunch of stuff highlighted because I use this book a lot. She's a very talented writer, and she talks about these things. Okay, so uh, here we go. So let's start with this now. This is the next part of our thing here. Authoritarian regimes, okay, destroy antonyms by defining words as the opposite of what they really are. All right, antonyms. So antonyms are words that are the opposite of certain other words. Okay, for those who don't know, that's what an antonym is. Anti being against, okay? So words that are the opposite of certain words. Authoritarian regimes are very skilled at destroying antonyms, destroying words that mean the opposite of something, okay? And let me explain what I mean by that. All right. So back in the Soviet Union, okay, like Mauser, this looks amazing. Thank you. Back in the Soviet Union, the Soviet Union would hold so-called elections. Okay. And this is what would happen during 100% JDH, 100%. And we're going to talk about maybe not that specifically JDH, but you're on the right track there. Okay. So these elections that they used to have in the Soviet Union, okay, the Soviet Union would hold, and in Russian, there's a word that means elections, and they would call these things that they were doing elections. They would also call these quote unquote elections, they would call them free expression of citizen will. Okay. And this is how it would work. So you would go to, you would show up. It was mandatory. You had to do this, by the way. Okay. It involved showing up at the so called, notice I put so called there because the language is so distorted around this. We don't have other words for these things. Okay. The so called polling place. You'd receive a pre filled ballot. So you'd get a ballot that was already filled in for you. So again, it's already filled in for you. You're not actually making any choices. And then you would deposit into a ballot box in public in front of people. Okay. You weren't actually choosing anything. Okay. Uh, and so, okay. S and remember, this was called an election, and it was called exactly, Alyssa, what is the point in that? Okay. And it was called a free expression of citizen will. So, here you have some image over here. This is an image of people putting one of the, ballots into the ballot box. You're absolutely weird amorphous blob, you're right. Stalin was interesting in that way. Um, yeah, exactly, Vexed, right? Oh, 100% Mithral. I'm actually gonna talk about Putin a little bit here, okay? This is all great points you're making, guys. Okay, so this next bitch here. Um, oop, why do I keep going back? Oh, you know what? Because I'm hitting the wrong side of the page. I get it now. Okay. So, thus, the free expression of citizen will was not free. It did not constitute any kind of expression. Hello, Big Braden. And it had no relationship to citizenship or will. Okay. Do we see that? Like, clearly was not a free expression, was not an election, was not 100% JDH. Okay. Yes, okay. In JDH, North Korea does similar things still, okay? So this has okay. So there's the one issue here in the fact that it means the opposite of what it actually is, right? It's not actually any kind of election. It's more of ritualized propaganda. Um, so that is one thing that's bad about this, obviously, that it's a lie. But there's more things that are bad about doing something like this, okay? So I titled this page "Words Destroyed and Meaning Lost." The effect of using this kind of language, right, has two sort of effects. One, um, the words election, the words free, the words expression, citizen, and will all lost their meaning in Russia. Okay, because if you were to go to someone, if everyone in the Soviet Union was forced to do this, and you go to someone and you start talking about an election, they know that what an election is. It is not, they know that it's a lie, right? So, how can you talk about real elections if the idea of the word election in a Soviet citizen's head is this sort of managed stagecraft fake election? You're absolutely right, Dolly Boy, and you'll see that that is true. Okay. Which we're going to mention here. Number two, so that's one problem is where the words being used by these authoritarians are lose their meaning. Um, and as people have mentioned before, and if I mentioned before, George Orwell talked all about this. BK, yes, Nazis did themselves this by calling themselves socialists. 100% BK, 100%. And what did that do, BK? What did them calling themselves socialists do? The word now doesn't have meaning, right? People are all the time are like, well, the Nazis were socialists, right? It damages the meaning of the word. Uh okay. Uh yeah, Robert. Whoa, Jordan Peterson. Let's define every single word in every single conversation, right, Robert? Okay. Yeah, you're right, big brain. Very few times in Russian history where they were democratic. Okay. Absolutely, JDH. It crushes people's morale and it rubs their face in their lack of choice. Okay. Of Ankh Morpork believed in one man, one vote. He was one man and he had one Mithra. I like that. Okay. You're that I know, right, Robert? Okay, about Bill Clinton. Okay, so millions. So basically, what this ended up causing, folks, um, is millions of Soviet citizens experience something. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. The second thing here is that other than making those words lose their meaning, it left the thing that's being described without a description. We still don't. So what do we call that? What would you call those elections? They're not elections, right? But there really isn't another word to replace that. We can call them fake elections. We can call them managed stagecraft or something like that. But it kind of it deprives the thing that's actually happening of an actual description, right? Does that make sense? So it does two things. It makes them lose. It makes those words lose their meaning, and it leaves the thing that's being described incorrectly without an actual description, which makes it hard to talk about that thing. It's called yeah, okay, right? You guys are okay. All right. So millions of Soviet citizens experienced something that could not be described. So they were left without a way. If you can't describe it very well, okay, they were left without a way to describe or critique their shared experience, right? Um, at the same time, real elections were preemptively discredited because those words had been used to denote something completely different. So, do you see how that really defames a populace's ability to resist and actually critique what's going on? They don't even have words to describe it. And if they do describe it, if they say, "Oh, these elections, are so are shit," elections don't mean anything, then they're also uh, denigrating elections. You see what I mean? Okay. Um, so this continued, by the way, into Russia after the Soviet Union fell. I'm going to read to you a quote. This is a quote from Masha Gessen. Okay. So I'll read this to you aloud. I thought this was fascinating. I didn't even want to try to summarize it for her because she is such a better, they're such a better writer than I will ever be. Okay. In the early 1990s, after the Soviet regime collapsed, Russian journalists faced the challenge of reinventing journalism, which had been a vehicle for propaganda, not information. Now, language stood in their way. The language of politics had been pillaged, as had the language of values and even the language of feelings, because after decades of performing revolutionary passion on command, people had become wary of the very idea of passion. The new Russian journalists opted for language that was descriptive in the most immediate way. They tried to stick to verbs and nouns and only to things that could be directly observed. In a bid to regain trust, they resorted to a drastically reduced vocabulary. They spoke only of what was in front of their eyes, had a shape that could be clearly defined, and a weight that could be accurately measured. They stayed away from matters of the mind and heart because they knew that no one believed them enough to enable them to venture into the unseen. Writing in Russian was like navigating a minefield. One misstep could discredit the entire enterprise. So, based off what we saw in the last slide, imagine you were a journalist trying to talk about how corrupt Russia's elections were in after the Soviet Union fell. As soon as you use the word election, all those people that had been around during the Soviet Union would immediately dismiss it as this performative thing, right? Even like larger conversations about freedom that have been discredited because of living under the Soviet Union. Do you see what I mean here? So after the Soviet Union fell, the Russians' vocabulary was highly diminished and was a minefield. It was hard to even write in Russian about things accurately because you couldn't bring up certain things because of all the emotions and all the disinformation that had previously been associated with them. Okay. Isn't that super interesting? I thought that was super interesting. Okay, and that happens in a lot of societies that go through totalitarian and authoritarian regimes. The language gets diminished, and truth it's much harder to get truth out of words. Okay, George Orwell talked a lot about this. All right. Okay, guys. Oh, okay. Here are some words, by the way, that oh my God, thank you, Malzord, for adding these photos. Okay, so here's some quotes because Putin does the same thing. And let me point out that Putin's regime, the kleptocratic um, mafia state that he's created, authoritarian mafia state he's created in Russia. He used to be in the KGB, so he's very familiar with these methods. Um, Okay. So let me give you a few quotes that do the exact same thing with language that the Soviets did. So here's a quote. I put up a picture here of Putin with a chick, like a baby chicken, trying to look cute and giving kissy face at it. Okay, doing a kissy face at this chicken. Okay. Anyway, Putin famously said that he was planning to install in Russia a dictatorship of the law. Well, that does several things. It discredits the word law because it is not a rule of law state. And it also discredits what a dictatorship is because a dictatorship doesn't operate through the law. It operates through an single individual person. And that's been a common phrase he's used. I'm instituting a dictatorship of the law. Well, okay, discrediting both those words. Here's another one. This is from one of Putin's top sort of intellectual inspirations. His name is Surkov. He said that Russia is implementing a managed democracy. Okay, that sort of dismantles the idea of democracy. Um, oh, absolutely, Fox Emblem. I agree. Okay, no, that's funny. That is funny, Big Brain. Okay, absolutely, BK. Um, you're right, BK. Okay, um, okay. Managed democracy. Okay, clearly it is not a democracy. So that destroys the word democracy. Um, and the last one here, okay, is from Medvedev, who's also one of the top Kremlin folks who was the president of Russia for a bit. He famously had a phrase that was this. And folks, for those of you that have read George Orwell, just think about this. This is his exact quote. Freedom is better than unfreedom. Um, so remember, when he says freedom, he's referring to Putin's regime, and he's claiming that the opposite of Putin's regime is unfreedom. That is like almost directly out of 1984. Okay, again, dismantling with the idea of what freedom is, if it wasn't already dismantled in the Russian language. Okay, let me do some other ones here. Okay, here are some words of other autocrats, okay, that we know of. Anyone who knows who Viktor Orban is, he's sort of an illiberal authoritarian that's in Hungary. Okay, he is famously said that his basically takeover of all the main press apparatuses in Hungary and putting them underneath his control. He called it a system of national cooperation. I that makes me laugh whenever I hear it. A system of national cooperation. Yeah, by forcing them and they're not cooperating willingly, okay? Okay. Next one here. During the reign of the Imperial Japan, when they went about conquering China and elsewhere in Asia, they oh, thank you, Malzord. I'm glad to hear it, okay? They uh the Imperial Japanese, the government there famously, they called the empire they were building in China. Now we've talked about what they did in China, right? The Nanking Massacre, Unit 731 killed almost as many people as the Nazis did. Okay, this is what they called their empire. They called it the East Asian Co. Sorry, it's not even fun. I think it's funny. It's just so bad. The East Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere. Uh, Not really spreading that prosperity around, are they? Not really co-prosperity at all. Okay. Let's talk about what Nazi Germany called it when they started throwing people into concentration camps, shall we? They called it taking people into protective custody. All right. Um, Here we got another one. This one's from Donald Trump. I got 3 down here from Donald Trump. Uh, Fake news. That word has lost all meaning, has it not? Because for him, fake news is just stuff that goes against Trump. Exactly, Big Braden, okay? Yeah, Nanjing would definitely disagree. There you go, JDH. We will protect you from living. Okay, exactly. Fake news is a big example. All right. I love this one. Okay, this one I don't. Yeah, managed prosperity. Exactly, Fox Emblem. It's managed prosperity, right? Okay. Here's another one. I don't know if you guys remember this, but Mike Pence, when he was Trump's VP in this first term, he went to to see Hamilton the musical live, and the cast there gave a speech, uh, basically ask, uh, asking Donald Trump and Mike Pence to be nicer to people, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, and it was a very kind rebuke. Okay, like they weren't particularly harsh about it. They were just asking Pence and Trump to be more considerate of people and things like that. And then this is what Donald Trump said after he heard that this had happened to Mike Pence. He was very, very mad. Okay, he goes, "The theater must always be a safe and special place." Now, this is an inversion of the phrase "safe space." Safe space. Okay, which is denotes an area where people, especially minorities, can go and feel safe to openly discuss things. He inverted it to mean a place where the elites can go without feeling uncomfortable. Okay. The theater needs to be a safe place, a safe space. Okay. All right. Lastly, here, another example from Donald Trump. Witch hunt. He will often accuse things of being a witch hunt, which is funny, no pun intended, because witch hunts are defined as when uh, people who don't have power are targeted by people with power for something that kind of like scapegoating. All right. Trump now means it for when people with power are targeted uh, for things that they have actually done wrong. Okay. So you get my point here, all right? And I think Meowsword added one. And me too, BK. Don't tell anyone, BK. I will say, BK. I like the George the Third song, but that's about it. Okay. Here we go. So Meowsword added this one here. Okay, yeah, guys, you are have great examples. The word collusion. I saw someone else said, yeah. JDH, when Trump recently said that he's sending troops into war torn Portland. Insane. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's it. Doesn't have to be Malzord. I'm mainly talking about like manipulating language at this point. Okay. So, but yeah, this is perfect, Malzord. So, a lot of this is great. I've heard about this, Malzord. So, a lot of folks in Israel, okay, have been calling what is happening in Gaza, have been talking about it as like a real estate bonanza. Okay, like all this open real estate for people now. So as Malzord puts here, Gaza real estate bonanza as opposed to the Gaza genocide, okay, which is really gross. Okay. Here we go. So this is I can't stand busy. I don't even okay, Smotrich, horrible man. A horrible human being. Okay. He says, I have started negotiations with the Americans. I say this not jokingly now, because I also demand we paid a lot of money for this war, so we need to divide how we make a percentage of the land marketing later in Gaza. And now, no kidding, we've done the demolition phase, which is always the first phase of urban renewal. There's another authoritarian thing there. Okay. Now we need to build. It's much cheaper. Okay. So again, using the phrase urban renewal for an ongoing genocide. Okay. Uh, and the demolition phase using construction language for it's really just mass destruction and wiping people out. This is perfect, Meowser. Thank you. Okay. I mean, Uh, it is Big Braden. It is kind of propagandized. I don't fault anyone who does like Hamilton. It's art, so you can like whatever art you want. But as a historian, it bothers me a bit. Uh, okay. Yeah, beautiful. You're right. You're right, Dolly Boy. It's beautiful. Like he uses that word so much. Okay, so here are all some excellent examples. All right, we're on to the third one now. So we've talked about the counter enlightenment. Remember, we're talking about post-truth, how truth gets distorted, how emotion becomes less important. How emotion becomes more important than reason. Okay, social media. Here's the third one. All right. Big Braden, I get it. Like, I like the mummy, but it does not take except very true, Big Braden. I also like the mummy. Okay, I did this thing bigly. Okay, very true. Okay. Before I go on, folks, I'm still not hearing anything from the press conference. Yep, it's still just waiting here. They're very late. Okay. All right. So let's go on. Social media. Now, thank you for following the OT Croman Reigns. Hello. Okay. All right. Next one, social media. Now, oh, this is good, Nowzord. Okay. Very good. Yes, exactly. But also, I really like Braveheart, but it's not good history. But totally, totally, BK. They use cultural Bolshevism and cultural Marxism, which are two of the same terms that just refer to secular Jews. 100%. And the Nazis, by the way, use the exact same phrase. JDH. Yeah, I feel bad for that couch. Okay, so let's look at social media. Here is a quote from Donald Trump that Meowser put up here. It is the same fake news media that said there is no path to victory for Trump and is now pushing the phony Russia story, a total scam. Okay, so Donald Trump uses social media all the time to push out these false narratives, right? And let's get into a bit like that's one big example here, okay? But it also happens on the left. All right. So let me explain what I mean by that. All right. So after the Charlie Kirk killing, all right, uh, I do not have the stream paused. Is there something wrong with the stream? Does everyone is the stream paused? Can you all still see me? Uh I'm sorry. No, it isn't vexed. It is live. I checked it. It's live. It's not paused. I'll double check though. Yep, it is still nothing there. Oh, yep. Well, they're in the room now, but they haven't started the press conference. Okay. So I will wait till I hear it. I will wait till I hear it actually starting. All right. So, okay. So, excellent. So here we go. So, this was a very popular post right after Charlie Kirk was killed by a guy named Harrison H. Smith. Yeah, probably got like 15 minutes left on the left, okay? And this is what it said. Okay? It said, "I'm not going to name names." This is on Twitter, by the way. X, whatever you want to call it. "I'm not going to name names, but I was told by someone close to Charlie Kirk that Charlie thinks Israel will kill him if he turns against them." Now then, this, when I looked at it before, it had something like 200,000 views, a ton of share, or it had over 1 million views. Uh, uh, it had like tons of shares and likes and things like that. And I started hunting some things down. Okay. So, anyone know who Jackson Hinkle is? Uh, I know who he is. I am not a fan at all, but yes, he claims to be left wing. Let's put it that way. Okay. He then posted this, and there were tons of people reposting and then quoting this, uh, quoting that post. Jackson Hinkle was one of them. He said, Surely you're busy, and he's referring to Netanyahu. Surely you're busy bombing civilians in seven enough to bomb civilians in 7 countries. Why were you speaking to Charlie Kirk before he got assassinated? Why did Charlie Kirk tell people he feared Israel would kill him if he stepped out of line? That person, by the way, would have been the guy from that last tweet. Okay. Did Charlie deny your request to visit Israel? All right. So here he is literally quoting that other tweet about that and stating it as fact. Okay. Let's go on. Then, anyone know what the gray zone is? Okay. The gray zone is a left, I put that in quotes, news source that is heavily funded by Russian state TV. Um, also does a lot of pro-Russian propaganda. Also does a lot of anti-American stuff, which hey, I'm all for that. But um, a lot of people on the left still quote it and think it's a great source. It is not. Okay. Um, so the gray zone. They posted this. Charlie Kirk refused Netanyahu funding offer, was frightened by pro-Israel forces before death. I promise I'm getting to a point about these folks. You'll see what I mean. Okay. A longtime friend of Kirk tells the Gray Zone how the late influencer's turning point on Israel provoked a private backlash that left him angry and afraid. They then cite an article that quotes that first tweet I told you as being the friend who said that Charlie Kirk was afraid. Okay. So again, all these sources quoting that first tweet, right? I'll continue. Oh, why is the page blank? Oh, wait a second. Is there a oh I oh I see. Okay, okay. So let me go on here. Okay. I'm making a point here. And then folks, I'm gonna bring up something else. I don't mean I really like Kyle Kalinske. Okay. That being said, I'm doing this on purpose, and I hope you folks know. Yeah, Meowzord, I know. Now wait, Meow. Yeah, yes, Meowzord. Okay, I'm doing this to kind of slap all of you in the face, metaphorically. Obviously, I don't want to actually slap you on the face, but even left-wing people can fall into this trap, and that's because we're in a post-truth era. It is hard to know what is real and not real. Okay, that's okay, Meowzord. Really, it's okay. So Kyle Kalinske did a presentation after Charlie Kirk where he talked about as a fact that Charlie Kirk had privately shared with someone that he was afraid that his life was threatened uh, because of Israel. That was quoted from that first tweet I showed you. And Kyle Kalinske takes it seriously uh, and took it completely seriously. All right. And viewed it as evidence that there was an assassination by Israel. Okay. Let's go back here. You see the point I'm making here, and it'll make much more sense when I get to my final point here. Okay. So let's now go back to what I was saying. That first tweet, okay, that first tweet we looked at, this one, the one that everyone else was quoting and everyone else was stating as a fact and retweeting and sharing was by a guy named Harrison H. Smith. All you got to do, folks, is click on his icon and his name, and you'll see where he's from. He's associated with Alex Jones and InfoWars. Okay? He is an InfoWars host who has frequently in the past been deeply anti Semitic and said all kinds of batshit crazy things about all kinds of batshit crazy things. And yet, all these people, without even knowing, left wing and right wing, were quoting it as though it were a reliable piece of information. Do you see what I'm saying here? Okay. Uh, yeah. Okay. Alan. Alan, Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson are also saying yes. But Alan, from what I've heard, Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson are not saying that Charlie thought that Israel was going to kill him, right? They were saying that he was sort of being intimidated privately with money and stuff like that because of being outspoken about it, but not the killing him thing, right? So, oh, I think something's happening, folks. I will pause here. Let me go to the other screen. It looks like they're going to come out soon, folks. Let me do some. Let me just make sure I got the audio set up for when it happens. Again, folks, if we get there we go. Oh, I know, right, Alan? Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna yeah, I'm gonna mute it for now so that you guys can't hear it. I'll keep on with the presentation, but I can hear it. As soon as they come out, we will switch back over to it. Sorry, I keep pausing, folks. I know I'm just trying to make sure we don't miss this. Okay. So again, social media is spreads all kind of misinformation, and it can be really hard to tell what's true, what's not true. All right. Um, so we live in a time of extreme uh the social media is extremely popular. And there are three parts of social media that is kind of detrimental to the truth. One is that the algorithm on social media rewards engagement, not accuracy, right? Social media platforms are designed to maximize attention. Their algorithms promote content that generates likes, shares, and comments, regardless of whether or not it's true. Emotional posts, like one claiming that Charlie Kirk thought that Israel was going to kill him, uh, that provoke anger, joy, fear, outrage, trigger faster reactions than calm factual reporting. Okay. As a result, emotionally charged content spreads further and faster. Okay. Secondly, people often react before they think on social media because that's how exactly, Alyssa, the rage baiting. Okay. People react before they think on social media. Most users quickly scroll quickly and process content intuitively rather than critically, right? This is called system one thinking, fast, emotional, and instinctive. Factual accuracy requires system two thinking, slow, logical, and effortful, okay? Since social media encourages quick consumption, emotional content tends to win out. All right. And lastly, here, these are all, by the way, proven by studies, okay? Identity and belonging matter more than truth to people on social media, okay? People share posts that reflect their identity or express group loyalty, even if the content isn't entirely accurate. Emotional appeal helps users signal values and align with their community, which feels more rewarding than simply sharing facts, okay? So, all three of these things. I know, right, Babadaka? I am sorry, Babadaka, okay, for making you think there, okay? All three of these things make it really hard to know what is true on social media. Okay. Uh, and here you have Meowzord, all this crap that is being spread like fire on social media. The idea that, like, Tim Pool talking about we need a civil war. Brian Eastwood saying, I'm ready for civil war. The libs of TikTok, this is war. Okay. They are, Alyssa, they are. Okay. They've declared war. The left is the party of murder. All this crap on here is being spread by the right wing, that is emotional, that is getting tons of clicks, likes, retweets, clicks, that has no basis on reality. Okay. Um, do you see what I mean here? So we are in a post-truth era. And I think I put here on this next slide, more people than ever get their news from social media. More than half of the United States either sometimes or often get their news from social media. Not exactly a great source from what I just showed you. Okay. Does that mean that that you can't get good info on there? No, but you got to be careful about it. All right. So again, we're living in a society now that is constantly swamped with misinformation and has trouble telling the difference. Okay. All right. So we've now talked. I know this is a longer presentation. We're almost done here. We only got two more and they're short. Okay. By the way, folks, if we get two more super chats, I will put on the jester collar. And if we get up to five, sorry, I keep pausing because I'm trying to listen to make sure I'm not missing. Nope, still nothing there. Okay. All right. I'll start this next part then. Okay. How's everyone doing out there? I want to make sure. Uh, yeah, you're right, Dolly boy. Okay. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything out there. Okay. So let's get on to the next one. Did I miss a super chat here? I feel like I did. I didn't. Okay. Um, okay. Uh, let's go on now to this next one here, and then if we can't, we can't. Okay. Oh, I know, right, Papadanga? Not even the president can seem to tell the difference. That is for sure. Okay. Anti-intellectualism. So here's another aspect of our post-truth era we're living in. So we've talked about counter-enlightenment. We've talked about authoritarian language, language in post-truth. We've talked about social media in a post-truth society. We're now talking about anti-intellectualism. There's a famous book I think I posted on Discord called Anti-Intellectualism in American Life by Richard Hofstadter. And a lot of other research has come out of this. There's a tradition in America of anti-intellectual thinking that already feeds that really helped a lot of what we're experiencing now kind of become worse. So anti-intellectualism is a distrust of and hostility towards intellectuals, academics, and scientific knowledge. Historically, it has been a recurring theme in U.S. history. And the idea, and that idea of being anti-intellectual has often been well wielded by people in power to advance agendas that benefit them. Think climate change, for example. All of these oil-funded politicians constantly saying, it is, Alyssa. It is very bad. Okay. Anti-intellectualism has skyrocketed in the United States recently. Okay. All those scientists that say that climate change is real and caused by humans gets quickly dismissed by politicians, even though there's all this there's all this science behind it and stuff because it doesn't benefit them politically, and they discredit the scientists. The same thing with COVID. Okay. It's constantly discredited. Science and experts are discredited when it doesn't fit the narrative that the elites want. Okay. Um, so in 1991, Daniel Rigney outlined three main currents of anti-intellectualism in the U.S. Okay. They're as follows. One, religious anti-rationalism. Now, this one I have some issues with. Regardless, he said that the rejection of logic and reason in favor of religious absolutes and emotion. Exactly, toy, right? Okay. Uh, okay. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely, Alyssa, he does. It's called catering to the least common denominator, which isn't necessarily language I like, but yeah, where you kind of make your language match a populist sort of language. Yeah, okay. Religious anti-rationalism. So this is one form of it in American life. The rejection of logic and evidence in favor of religious absolutes and emotions. Until very recently, folks, America had of Western industrialized nations. Again, that's sort of a unpleasant way, inaccurate way of framing that. But America was last only to Turkey in the number of people who didn't believe in evolution and believed that the Earth was 6,000 years old. We also, I think, have more people. Well, we have a lot of people that believe in things that the rest of the world take as fact. Okay, so that's one example. We also have more people here that believe that the apocalypse is, I know, right, BK? We also have more people here that believe that the apocalypse will happen in their lifetime than I think almost anywhere else in the world. Okay. Another type of anti intellectualism is populist anti-elitism. This is also one I have a complaint about, and you'll see why. The distrust of and hostility towards perceived elites, such as academics, professors, or established politicians. Oh, insert name. That's excellent. I'll take a look at that. So I don't blame people for not trusting established politicians, obviously, and elites, obviously, right? So I guess the main thing here would be right, Dally Boy. Okay. So I think the main thing here would be the distrust in academics and professors, scientists, and things like that, which is kind of framed as a faux populism, like, oh, well, these people up in the ivory tower, they don't know what they're talking about and things like that. I totally get that sentiment. I do. But it is a faux populism because a lot of times those people up in the ivory tower are actually advocating for things that are good for everyone. Uh, yeah, absolutely, BK, right? BK, right? Millionaire Harvard grad Ben Shapiro talking about how the elites are not to be trusted, right? And let's point out here, there are a lot of elites that can't be trusted. There are a lot of professors that can't be trusted. But it needs to be done on a person by person basis, right? Okay. So those are the three current. Oh, and lastly, and for Americans especially, but not just Americans. Hello, London. Welcome, London. This will make sense to you, okay? I think for people in the UK too. Unreflective instrumentalism. This is the idea that the pursuit of knowledge is only worthwhile if it has a clear practical purpose, such as generating profit. I know that in America, this is a very common sentiment. Why do you have a degree in English? You should have gotten a degree in something useful. Okay. History is a worthless degree, right? Gets a degree in something useful. Um, the idea that, you should focus, your education should be based around what is best for the job you're going to do, right? And you shouldn't go outside of that. Okay. That's called unreflective instrumentalism. All right. And there are a lot of economic pressures that promote this, right? You do want a job that pays enough. So you will tend to focus on getting the education that gets a job that'll make you pay you well. Okay. Yeah, absolutely, Papadaka. Yep. They even think the government should make a profit. Yep. Okay. All right. Yeah, Dally Boy. Meanwhile, billionaires Trump and Musk are anti-establishment, which is insane to me. Insane to me, right? Okay. Thank you, Machine Pinata, for following. Okay. Um, you know what? We'll go to this real fast. So I'll show you this real fast, folks. This just to go off what we're saying here in America. There was a study done by Gallup. Please tell me how much confidence you yourself have in higher education. A great deal, quite a lot. Some are very little. Um, about 42%. Let's put it this way. More than half of people don't have confidence in higher education. And folks, there's also an economic element to this. Higher education is extremely expensive. So on the next point here, you're going to see I talk about the economics of post-truth. But the idea here that college is bad, you don't need to learn anything new and things like that. Now, you don't have to go to college. Yeah, you're exactly, Alan. You don't have to go to college to get a good job or whatever. You're not able to get a job a lot of times after you go to college. But a lot of this it's framed as confidence as in you think that getting a higher education improves your intelligence and things, or improve not your intelligence, but your knowledge and things like that. People don't think it does. Okay. It is. It is. Okay. So there are a lot of things that go into this. But it's still, regardless of the reason for it, whether it be economics or a mistrust of elites, whatever it may be, it still contributes to an anti-intellectual sentiment. And then lastly here, oh, how do I go to the next? Well, I'll just go to this. Ah, okay. Well, you can see over here on the right, it's kind of hard to see. Um, it just shows, uh, okay, it is shows that there are a large percentage of Americans who believe in things like the earth is flat. I'm not even joking. About 10% of Americans believe that the earth is flat. About 12% believe that the moon landings were faked. Um, Here we go. I can make it bigger that way. I'll do that. Okay. Uh, about 28% believe that the COVID vaccination risks or COVID risks are exaggerated. Only 58% of Americans believes that humans evolved. Okay, that they are this a subject to evolution. Only 58% believe that. Um, Only 70%, about 30% believe that vaccines are beneficial. I mean, about 30% believe that vaccines aren't beneficial, and 83% believe that the Earth revolves around the sun. So that means there's what? 17% that doesn't think the Earth revolves around the sun. Not good. Okay. All right. Lastly here, okay? You kind of see the narrative I'm weaving here, right? That I'm weaving it. It's braided. This is the last slide here. Not the last slide, but the last segment. I know, Alyssa. I know. BK, yeah, it is. It's like 40 plus million people. Remember, folks, we have over 300 million people in this country. So a percentage like 10%, that's a lot of people. That's millions of people who believe it. Okay. Um, okay. Oh, all right. I'm going to go open mine real fast here. I think that one got cut off. I'll go down to here. So where is it? Here we go. Okay. So let's talk about this real fast. Yep. 30 million people, Doug. Correct. Okay. This last slide here. And I wanted you to tell me what you all think. Okay. How does our economic system contribute to post-truth? Because there's a tendency, especially amongst elites, to like down talk people and be like, look how dumb Americans are. Even people in other countries will do this. They're so uneducated. Da, 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 da. Okay. But there are structural things that result in this. I already talked to you about how the elites will oftentimes demonize academics and intellectuals for their own benefit. There are also religious leaders who manipulate people for their for power and things like that. There's also economic reasons for this. So, for example, who the fuck has time to spend time researching the tweets they're reading? Who the hell has that time? You got to work, right? You go to work, what, 8 hours a day? Sometimes a lot of people even more than that. You want to spend your time relaxing. So the first thing here, no time for critical thinking and research. Who the hell has time to see if what they're reading or hearing is actually true? That requires effort and research. And most people don't have time for that. That's a lot of extra effort and time when you're already exhausted from working. Oh, Here they come, folks. Okay. Okay. We'll go back to that, okay?
Thank you very much, everybody. So this is a big, big day, a beautiful day, potentially
Jesus Christ, okay.
one of the great days.
Remember, think about post-truth era while we're watching this. Oh, I didn't mean to pause it.
Ever in civilization. Things that have been going on for hundreds of years and thousands of years. We're going to, at least we're at a minimum very, very close, and I think we're beyond very close. And I want to thank Bibi for really getting in there and doing a job. We've worked well together.
Getting in there and doing
as we
a job.
have with many other countries, both of us, with many other countries, which is the only way this whole situation gets solved. And I'm not just talking about Gaza. Gaza is one thing, but we're talking about much beyond Gaza.
Welcome back, Mithril.
The whole deal, everything
Winter
getting solved. It's called peace in the Middle East. So today is a historic day for peace, and Prime Minister Netanyahu and I have just concluded an important meeting on many vital issues, including Iran, trade, the expansion of the Abraham Accords, and most importantly, we discussed how to end the war in Gaza, but it's just a
I guess so.
part of the bigger picture, which is peace in the Middle East. And let's call it eternal peace in the Middle East.
Yes.
So
Eternal
this is far more than anybody expected, but the level of support that I've had from the nations in the Middle East and surrounding Israel and neighbors of Israel has been incredible, incredible. Every single one of them. This afternoon, after extensive consultation with our friends and partners throughout the region, I'm formally releasing our principles for peace, which people have really liked, I must say.
Right, the brain.
And these are done not just routinely done; these are done with total consideration and working with the nations that we're talking about. All of these nations have made contributions to those suggestions. I want to thank the leaders of many Arab and Muslim nations for their tremendous support in developing the proposal, along with many
Israel
of our allies in Europe. Europe has been very much involved. And as I was called by many of the European leaders, most of them saying, "Is this true? Are you really doing peace in the Middle East? This is the most incredible thing we've heard." Some think it's the biggest thing they've ever heard. They called just to find out, was it just a rumor or is it actually done? And then they said, have you spoken to the Arab leaders? Have you spoken to all of the other leaders that we have to get? A lot of people involved in this one. I also want to thank Prime Minister Netanyahu for agreeing to the plan and for trusting that if we work together, we can bring an end to the death and destruction that we've seen for so many years, decades, even centuries, and begin a new chapter of security, peace, and prosperity for the entire region. And I want to just say that my meetings and dialogue that we had with so many countries, Saudi Arabia as an example, the king is a phenomenal person.
You're right, BK.
The Emir of Qatar.
The king, isn't it? Oh, God damn it. The king of Saudi Arabia is an amazing person. Was that before or after he cut up Jamal
Khashoggi? Giving us ideas, things they can live with, things they can't live with. Pretty complex. I mean, after 2,000, 3,000 years, whatever it is, I guess it's got to be a little complex, or it would have been done a long time ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
The King of Jordan was with us, as you know, in the United Nations. The President of Turkey, President Erdogan, is a friend of mine, a strong man, but a good man. President of Indonesia, somebody who's an amazing
authoritarian
leader.
Erdogan.
Prabowo. He is an amazing leader and
it's very straightforward,
respected by everybody. He was in the room with us. We were together with most of these people that I'm mentioning. Others were by phone or the next day. The Prime Minister
on the left.
and the Field Marshal
from Philadelphia,
Pakistan,
Pennsylvania.
They were with us right from the beginning. Incredible. In fact, they just put out a statement that they fully believe in this pact. It just came out just as I was walking around. They said, "Sir, you have a big notice from the Prime Minister of Pakistan and from the Field Marshal that they back this 100%. President El-Sisi of Egypt, who's terrific. And these are people I've gotten to know over the years. I mean, I would say it started around 2015 and then went into 2016 when the presidency officially began. But I've known him actually for a long time, and there are many cases really great men. I can't say in all cases.
Seems like he's not in a great mood.
In many cases, they're great men, and some great women too.
Right, AG?
They tend to be mostly men, however.
No, but did you what?
But
I mean, I'm not shocked that he's a misogynist, but Jesus Christ!
For the release of all remaining hostages immediately, but in no case more than 72 hours.
Right, Doug.
So the hostages are coming back, and I hate even saying this from the standpoint, doesn't sound right, but it is so important to the parents. The bodies of the young men, I believe in almost all cases, the young men.
Many of which Israel's bombing
coming
killed.
Back immediately.
They killed a ton of their own
with
hostages.
The parents felt as strongly about getting the body of their dead boy back as they did as though the boy were alive and well.
Right, you're right. So and Israel, you're right, Alan. Israel has tons of Palestinian hostages.
to the war itself,
including
not
children.
just Gaza. It's the war itself. Under the plan, Arab and Muslim countries have committed.
It's not a war, it's a genocide.
And in writing, in many cases, but I actually would take their word for it. The people I mentioned, I'd take their word for it. To demilitarize Gaza, and that's quickly.
We're going to take Israel's word for it,
Decommission
you
the
said?
military capabilities of Hamas and all other terror organizations. Do that immediately. And we're relying on the countries that I named and others to deal with
AC
Hamas.
Morales.
And I'm hearing that Hamas wants to get this done too, and that's a good thing. And destroy all terror infrastructure, including the tunnels, weapons, production facilities. They have a lot of production facilities that we're destroying. They'll also help train local police forces in the areas that we're discussing right now, in particular in and around Gaza, working with the new transitional authority in Gaza. All parties will agree on a timeline for Israeli forces to withdraw in phases. They'll be withdrawing in phases.
Post-truth,
No more shooting, hopefully. As progress is made toward achieving these goals, Arab and Muslim nations need to be allowed the chance to fulfill these commitments of dealing with Hamas. They have to deal with them because they were one group that we have not dealt with. I haven't dealt with them. But the Arab countries
because Israel killed their negotiators?
And Muslim countries are going to be dealing with Hamas, and I believe they've already been there. I think they probably have an understanding, and they haven't maybe mentioned that, but I would imagine they do. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gone as far as they've gone. If they're unable to do so, then Israel would have the absolute right and actually our full backing, the U.S. full backing.
So humiliating.
Marco's here. And a lot of our leaders are here, our great Vice President, Susie Wiles, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner. They've been so involved in this process. I don't think
I believe it, Alan. I believe Hamas hasn't said they've received any offers.
We're right there. We're right there. First time in thousands of years, I think you can probably say. If you really look into it, if you study back,
it's not that deep, bro. Israel just wants to push them off the land and exterminate them so they can take the land.
Would have my full backing to finish the job of destroying the threat of Hamas. But I hope that we're going to have a deal for peace. And if Hamas rejects the deal, which is always possible, they're the only one left. Everyone else has accepted it. But
what is he chunnering on about, Mitzvah?
Answer. But if not, as you know, Bibi, you'd have
ridiculous, right, AG?
To do what you would have to do. Everyone understands that the ultimate result must be the elimination of any danger posed in the region, and that danger is caused by Hamas. The tyranny of terror has to end, and this is again something that we're looking for. This is eternity.
Who is doing the terrorism? Israel.
Forever.
Israel and the United States.
To ensure the success of this effort, my plan calls for the creation of a new international oversight body, the Board of Peace, we call it, the Board of Peace. Sort of a beautiful name, the Board.
More post-truth language, the Board of Peace.
Which will be headed, not at my request, believe me, I'm very busy, but we have to make sure this works. The leaders of the Arab world and Israel and everybody involved asked me to do this, so it would be headed by a gentleman known as President Donald J. Trump of the United States. That's what I want, is some extra work to do, but it's so important that I'm willing to do it, and we'll do it right, and we're going to put leaders from other countries on, and leaders that are very distinguished
insert
leaders.
Name.
And we'll have a board, and one of the people that wants to be on the board is the UK former Prime Minister,
Louise,
Tony
he's a
Blair.
moron.
Good man,
he is a moron.
Good man.
Some UK people, did you hear that? According to Trump, Tony Blair was a good man, a very, very good man.
Quite the board. Working, everybody wants to be on it now. I don't know if that had anything to do. They named me, and everybody else wanted to be on it. I guess they figure, well, he's a soft touch. He'll be easy to deal with. Working with the World Bank and others, it will be responsible for recruiting and training a new government that will be made up of Palestinians along with highly qualified experts from all around the world. Hamas and other terrorist factions will play no role in the board, but they'll play no role in the governance of Gaza at all, directly or indirectly. As you know, thousands of Hamas leaders have been killed and soldiers have been killed.
Thousands of Hamas leaders?
And
what?
We can never forget October 7th, but thousands have paid the price for that. And now it's time to get our hostages back and get back to trying to build something that's really great and very important. In our meeting today, Prime Minister Netanyahu was
I
very
recall
clear
they're
about
hostages
his
from a different
opposition
country.
to a Palestinian state. And he continuously mentions October 7th, and I understand
Me too,
that.
Big Braden.
Most people do.
Yeah, that's insane, Luis.
And I understand and respect his
I would
position
bet
many
you on that,
things,
Doug.
but
I would bet
what
it
he's
is going to be
doing
worse.
today is so good for Israel. I noticed that they have large crowds gathering in Israel all the time, and they have my name up. They like me for whatever reason. Maybe I don't know, but they do like me.
Here comes the circle jerk. Everyone get on your splash glasses.
Please get the hostages back and please end the war. They've had it. It's had it. So I think it's a very popular thing you do because he's a warrior.
Right, BK.
He doesn't know about
and Israel has a budget
back
surplus.
To a normal way of life. But he is a warrior.
Yeah, apparently, Alan.
Israel's
Apparently.
lucky to have him. But now the people want to get back to peace. They want to get back to normalization in a true sense. Several countries have foolishly recognized the Palestinian state. As you know, some of our European friends, allies, good people. But they're really doing that because they're very tired of what's going on for so many decades. They've been presidents and prime ministers for years, and during this time, having to do with the Middle East, all they're doing is talking about the same thing over and over. They want to see it get back. And nobody wants that more than me, or I believe Bibi too. But the people of Israel want it. They really want it. They want the hostages back.
He's such a moron. I think he actually thinks that Bibi wants it.
32 bodies that we're talking about, 20 people that are living, 32 or so people that are dead, and they want to have peace. So let us not forget how we got here.
You're right,
Hamas was elected by the Palestinian people. Israel withdrew from Gaza thinking they would live in peace. Remember that a long time ago, they withdrew. They said, you take it. This is our contribution to peace. But that didn't work out. That didn't work out.
My God.
It was the opposite of peace. They pulled away. They let them have it. And I never forgot that because
they let them have it, even though they controlled the water, the electricity, had fences all around it.
I mean, they gave up the ocean, right?
Cut off access to food.
They gave up the ocean. They said, who would do this deal?
Bombed it occasionally.
It still didn't work out. They were very generous, actually. And they gave up the most magnificent piece of land in many ways in the Middle East. And they said,
generous, calling Israel generous.
That request was not honored. Instead of building a better life for the Palestinians, Hamas diverted resources to build over 400 miles of tunnels and terror infrastructure, rocket production facilities, and hid their military command posts and launch sites in hospitals, schools, and mosques. So if you went after them, you'd be after them, and you wouldn't even realize you ended up knocking out a hospital or a school or a mosque.
Oh my God, I can't.
Terrible, terrible way to have to fight. No fight is good, but that's a real bad one. So there are many Palestinians who wish to live in peace. Many I've seen.
Exactly.
So many of
That's
them.
good expression.
And they have support.
Playing him like a fiddle.
I challenge the Palestinians to take responsibility for their destiny, because that's what we're giving them. We're giving them responsibility for their destiny. Fully condemn and prohibit terrorism and earn their way to a brighter future. They don't want the life that they've had. They've had a rough life with Hamas. If the Palestinian Authority does not complete the reforms that I laid out,
insert
my vision
name
for peace in 2020,
right, Alan?
They'll have only themselves to blame. We're giving them an amazing footprint, and they have amazing support from the leaders of the Arab world and the Muslim world. The great leaders. These are great leaders. These are unbelievable leaders that have built great countries and very wealthy countries. What the future holds for the Palestinians, no one really knows, but the plan that we put forward today is focused on ending the war immediately, getting all of our hostages back, getting everything back, hard to believe when you even say it, and creating conditions for durable Israeli security and Palestinian success. Israeli security is going to be involved.
Winterlinde, the American public, unfortunately, a lot will believe in.
Helping with security, we want to make sure it works. We just want to make sure it works. There shouldn't be a shot fired.
Muslim,
there will be, I guess,
as he
because that's the way it seems to be. But they shouldn't have to be within a few days. There shouldn't have to be a shot fired. And maybe for eternity. Wouldn't that be nice? I hope it's true.
$10
the leadership of that region feels
that's what Netanyahu said, that we want everything back.
True.
And Trump thinks he means just the hostages.
This agreement that we're talking about will lead to a sustainable, long-term peace. No president in history has been a greater friend of the state of Israel than I have, in addition to negotiating the Abraham Accords. I like to say it that way because the real people, that's what they call Abraham.
Oh, God.
I would say Abraham, but it's so much nicer when you say Abraham. So much more elegant. But the Abraham Accords, they're amazing. Jared, you did that along with your group of geniuses, and nobody thought that could be done.
It isn't, Ellen.
We have 4 countries, and Sleepy Joe Biden didn't do a thing. He didn't even know what the hell they were. He should have had them filled up. But I think this will also lead to...
We need to get Meow's bingo card up
maybe
here.
Maybe even Iran can get in there. I hope. We expect...
Biden.
We hope we're going to be able to get along with Iran. I think they're going to be open to it.
Yeah, good luck after bombing them.
But they could be a member. I long ago said, I'll bet you at some point Iran will be a member of the Accords. And little did I realize it was going to take this turn. That was some turn we did with the B-2s. But I think they might very well be there because it's a great thing for them economically. I recognize the eternal capital of Israel. I opened the American embassy in Jerusalem.
It might be Winterlinde.
Said would never be done.
I mean Brazil, excuse me.
Virtually every president for many years,
of course
for decades,
they are, Alan,
would campaign on making Jerusalem the capital of Israel. They campaigned on it over and over. Is that right, Steve? Is that right? Everyone, and when they got to it, and I understand why now, because it was so... When I got to office, I campaiggned on it too. I said, we're going to make
It'd be funny if it wasn't like genocide denial.
Saying,
and
please don't do it. Please don't do it. It'll end the whole world. Please don't do it. And finally, I just didn't say anything, and I did it. People were calling me before I did it because they heard I was going to do it, and leaders of countries were calling me, and I think it was on a Thursday that I did it, and they'd call me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3-4 times a day, and I said, tell them I'll call them back on Friday. And I announced it on Thursday.
Wait, what did he do on Thursday? Is that when he was on Epstein's Island?
And they said, you've done it. I said, done what? You've made the capital of Israel.
Oh, I know, Jonas. I know, Jonas. Thank you for the super chat.
I wish you called me.
Jonas says MAGA supporters will still claim he's anti-war. Oh, absolutely, Jonas. They absolutely will. It's insane.
Because I knew what they were calling about, and you know what? It turned out to be amazing. Everybody thought it was going to lead to
absolutely, Matt Saiga. You're right. Brown lives never matter. 100%. According to the American government.
It just led to something that I promised, and something that was very, very popular for Jewish people and a lot of other people too. I recognize Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, and I cut taxpayer funding to the corrupt United Nations Relief and Works Agency. And United Nations was interesting because...
You're right, Doug.
As you know, a few days ago, they introduced me. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, I'm looking at my teleprompter, and the thing was dead, stone cold.
Oh, my God. Alyssa, you predicted this. Was it you, Alyssa, who said that? How long are we going to hear about the goddamn escalator and the goddamn teleprompter?
And I'm saying, they're introducing
you're absolutely
me.
Right, Alan. That did lead to it.
So, but I made a speech. I actually got good marks. You think Biden could have done that? I don't think so.
Oh, my God.
I don't think he could have done that. I don't think too many people could have done it. But actually, it was actually more of a speech from my heart. If you want to know the truth, I think
Guys, like, I'm gonna cry. Like, seriously,
better
I'm
in
just
certain ways
imagining
because
all
it
those
was from the
children in
heart.
Palestine who are
It has to
starving
be
to
from
death
the heart, otherwise you're in big trouble.
and being
But I
bombarded
cut
daily
taxpayer
while this
funding
fool,
for that very
the
corrupt
literally
United
the
Nations
dumbest human
relief
being in
and
human
works
history,
agency, and nobody
bumbles
thought
and
that would be
rambles
done, and withdrew from the
on a stage
horrible
when they're
Iran
supposed to be
nuclear
talking
deal
about
that was
ending
imposed upon
the genocide.
Israel by Barack Hussein Obama and Biden. And I don't think Biden knew anything about it, though. I don't think
my
he
God,
knows
shut
anything about
up.
it now, actually.
Oh my God, I'm gonna Fed post. I'm gonna Fed post.
And we obliterated Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity, making it impossible for them to have a nuclear weapon, which they would have had probably in about 2 months from then.
Right, Drusilla?
But I've never asked Israel to compromise its security.
So right, Neo. Welcome, Neo.
Big, strong talk. Nobody's been better to Israel. No president's been better to Israel
Jonas.
than Donald Trump. But we had a long, strong talk.
You're right.
And he understands.
You're right,
it's
Alan.
time. It's time. History has shown. And the people of Israel want it. And the people of the Middle East want it. The people of enemies of Israel want it. But they don't have really too many enemies right now. And you know what? Many countries have gained great respect for Israel, for the way they fight, for the job they do.
What?
Including me. I had respect anyway, but they gained respect. History has shown us that
Who
those
gained
who
respect
have
for Israel?
relations with Israel have thrived, while those who have devoted resources and attention toward the destruction and even annihilation of Israel have languished. They haven't done well.
Vexed?
Israel is not going anywhere. They're going to coexist with other people and countries in the region, from Syria to Lebanon to Saudi Arabia. The promise of a new Middle East is so clearly within our reach. This is the closest we've ever come to real peace, not fake peace.
Exactly, Demosthenes.
Fool's peace. If we can get this difficult problem solved, the opportunities for all within that vast region of this world.
Nope, no, they didn't, Winterland Day. I know about that because I looked it up, but they wasn't shown in the U.S.
Sure that all countries are better off when they communicate and work together and embrace new opportunities. I hope Jared and Steve and Susie and Marco and JD, we have great people. I hope you guys are going to work very hard to get these other countries in, because now they have no excuse. There's no longer an excuse. They were
absolutely, Jonas.
Yeah. I'll tell you, the 4 countries that went in, I give them tremendous credit, and it's worked out incredibly well for them. In the same spirit, I'm pleased to report that earlier today we took another important step toward greater understanding of the region. A short time ago, we had a historic phone call in the Oval Office with Prime Minister Tani, who's really
Tani. Why do you say it that way?
Great person.
Yeah, it could have been. It could have been over in 2 minutes.
And I was on the phone, and Bibi.
Okay, let's get to the war criminal. Come on. I mean, he's a war criminal too, I guess. Let's go get to the genocidal war criminal. Let's hear what the genocidal war criminal has to say.
It was a great conversation, I thought. It was productive.
Yeah, he looks kind of sick, doesn't he?
Everything that you need to have something turn out to be successful. And I want to thank Bibi, and I want to thank the Prime Minister. It was fantastic. We agreed to launch a formal trilateral mechanism between Israel, Qatar, and the United States to begin a dialogue to enhance mutual security,
was that
correct
before or after Israel bombed Qatar?
Future misgivings, and I want to.
You're right, Giselle. At least Putin gets to the point.
The Emir is.
Hello, Macy.
Fantastic person. I think,
yeah, I know Macy.
I'm going to be his public relations man because I know him differently than a lot of people know him.
What?
But he wants peace. He wants to see peace. And his people, and
you're right,
really
they are, Doug. That's a fair point,
they played
Doug.
as mediator. And again, we're not quite finished. We have to get Hamas, but I think they're going to be able to do that. So now it's time for Hamas to accept the terms of the plan that we put forward today. And again, this is a different Hamas than we were dealing with, because
I know, you're right, Neo. You're right.
Killed.
Yep, you're absolutely 100%, Alan.
So
public relations, he means propaganda.
We've been dealing with over the last 4 years, 5 years. Everyone has
exactly
done their
no
part
risk,
and
President
come to the table in good faith. Our Arab and
okay,
Muslim
can we wrap this up? Can we wrap it up
and fulfill their commitments for the benefit of the people of Gaza and the entire region? They're willing to step up and do a lot. They really are. There are a lot of good people involved. everybody who wants to see an end to the violence and destruction should be united in calling for Hamas to accept the extremely fair proposal so that we can end the war and get us back our hostages right now and have everlasting peace. And I look forward to having relationships with everyone. As the chairman of the board, I'll be involved, and we'll have meetings with some very smart people that'll be working over there to make sure that we haven't just been wasting time with an agreement that doesn't get done. The task of building peace will not be easy. There are some of the hardest problems in the world to solve, and that's why it's been going on for so many centuries.
What's the threat here to Israel if they don't follow through?
Not to try, and this is more than a try. I mean, I think this is something that gets done when you have virtually every country.
Why doesn't he just say, okay, that's it, we're cutting off funding?
Countries that have
because he doesn't really want to.
Of money, and the money can make things happen. A lot of countries try, and they don't have any money.
Right,
These are very rich countries that can make things happen.
Oh, blah,
so
blah,
together
blah, blah,
we'll forge
blah.
a much safer and more hopeful future for everybody, including Israel.
Now that I use Monday service,
oh, thank God. Oh, my God. I'm kind of happy there's an ad.
Meditation.
Jesus.
Monday.
Thank all of the leaders, the
Thank
kings
Israel.
and the emirs and the presidents and prime ministers, people I mentioned. And they've been absolutely fantastic to work with. And it's just happened very quickly. It's happened from a couple of weeks before I had a couple of meetings, but a couple of weeks before
Bobby's going to try tariffs
we went to the United Nations, and we had some incredible meetings. It all came to place.
Oh my God,
it all took place, and everybody wanted to be a part of it. I don't have anybody that's saying we don't want anything to do with it. It's just the opposite. And I'll tell you, a couple of years ago, a year ago.
Okay, let's get to Benjamin. Final solution, Netanyahu. Come on.
Right? I don't think we would have had. It's been amazing. The participation was 100%. Everybody wants to be a part of it, and everybody, those very strong countries, everybody wants it to work. So, Bibi, congratulations on this. I think this will be your crowning achievement. Frankly, if this all works out, we think it will. It's going to be your crowning achievement, and I want to thank you very much for being here. Thank you, please.
Thank you.
Oh, God, here we go. Everyone get your puke buckets ready.
President, first I want to thank you for graciously hosting me once again in the White House.
Right, Alan? They must have a very incompetent military.
Second, I want to thank you for your friendship and for your leadership. From Jerusalem to Tehran.
He's lubing him up, folks. He's lubing him up. Lubing him up.
You've proven time and again what I've said many times. You are the greatest friend that Israel has ever had in the White House.
I know, AG. I know.
Mr. President,
I know.
You and I both know it's not even close. While you focus at home on making America great again, your leadership abroad
agreed. He should be in prison
for the better, ending wars and advancing
arrest
peace.
warrant out for him.
I believe that today we're taking a critical step towards both ending the war in Gaza and setting the stage for dramatically advancing peace in the Middle East. And I think beyond the Middle East.
Yeah, you're right,
Muslim countries. I support your plan to end the war in Gaza, which achieves our war aims. It will bring back to Israel all our hostages, dismantle Hamas's military capabilities, end its political rule, and ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel.
Yep, Jonas.
We would not have achieved this turning point without the courage and sacrifice of our incredibly brave soldiers.
Oh, Jesus. I don't even want to
fight like lions
to
defend the people of Israel. And they serve on the front line in the war between civilization
I love the
and
SS.
barbarism.
They're such great soldiers. They fought for the Fuhrer so
when
well.
When our two countries stand shoulder to shoulder, we achieve the impossible. Just a few months ago, in Operation Rising Lion and Operation Midnight Hammer, we struck a decisive blow against Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile program. Your bold decision to send those B-2s made the region safer and the world safer. Now, under your leadership, we're taking the next
War is
step
peace.
to win the war
1984.
and expand the peace. Your plan is consistent with the 5 principles my government set for
This
the
really has
end of the war
RPB. Welcome, RPB.
and the day after Hamas. Everybody asks, what is your plan for the day after Hamas? Here's our plan.
A lot, London.
Pass it in the cabinet. All our hostages, both those who are alive and those who died,
Exactly, Drusilla.
all of them will return home immediately. Hamas will be disarmed. Gaza will be demilitarized. Israel will retain security responsibility,
Demilitarized.
including a security perimeter for the foreseeable future.
No, London, same shit, different
And
day.
lastly, Gaza will have a peaceful civilian administration that is run neither by Hamas nor by the Palestinian
Yep,
Authority.
Victoria.
If Hamas agrees to your plan, Mr. President, the first step will be a modest withdrawal, followed by the release of all our hostages within
Exactly,
72 hours.
Louise.
The next step will be the establishment of an international body charged with fully disarming Hamas and demilitarizing
Of course,
Gaza.
Alan. Why you think Netanyahu wouldn't do that, Alan?
I appreciate your willingness to lead the body, Mr. President. I really appreciate it because you have a lot of things to do, and this is important. And it reflects the confidence that this will give everyone, that things will be followed up on all the commitments made. The fact that you're taking this on, I think, helps a lot to make sure that everything flows in the direction that we want. Now, if this international body succeeds, we will have permanently ended the war. Israel will conduct further withdrawals linked to the extent of disarmament and demilitarization, but will remain in the security perimeter for the foreseeable
Pizza.
future.
Welcome, pizza, 100%.
I think we should understand that we're
True,
giving
Alan.
everybody a chance to have this done peacefully, something that will achieve all our war objectives without any further bloodshed. But if Hamas rejects your plan, Mr. President, or if they supposedly accept it,
I will say he's really good at cleaning all that blood off his hands. Like, his hands look
basically
pretty
do
clean.
everything to counter it,
Kind of shocked there aren't even some
then
stains
Israel will finish the job
on his shirt.
by itself. This can be done the easy way,
Yes, Demosthenes.
or it can be done the hard way. But it will be done. We prefer the easy way, but it has to be done.
Oh, is that so?
All these goals must be achieved
Yeah.
because we didn't fight this horrible fight, sacrifice the finest of our young men to have Hamas stay in Gaza
100%,
and
Alyssa.
threaten us again
Yeah,
and again
he does
and
need to get
again
out, RPB.
with these horrific massacres. Mr.
That
President, I
your
was
government is
encouraged
doing?
by your clear statement at
No,
the
what did
UN
he say,
against
Meowser?
the
Did I miss it?
recognition of a Palestinian state. That would be an outcome that, after October 7th, would reward terrorists, undermine security, and endanger Israel's very existence. As for the Palestinian Authority, I appreciate your firm position that the PA could have no role whatsoever in Gaza without undergoing a radical and genuine transformation. In your 2020 peace plan, which you mentioned just now, you made clear what that transformation requires. It's not lip service. It's not checking a box. It's a fundamental, genuine, and enduring
Yes, Meowsord, okay.
transformation. And that means ending pay to slay, changing the poisonous textbooks that teach hatred to Jews, to Palestinian children,
Oh, my God.
stopping incitement in the media,
Yeah,
ending
absolutely, Alan.
lawfare against Israel at the ICC, the ICJ, recognizing the Jewish state, and many, many other reforms. It won't come as a surprise to you that the vast majority of Israelis have no faith that the PA Leopard will change its spots. But rather than wait for this miraculous transformation, your plan provides a practical and realistic path forward for Gaza in the coming years, in which Gaza will be administered neither by Hamas nor the Palestinian Authority, but by those committed to a genuine peace with Israel. I think this can be not only a new beginning for Gaza, I think it can be a new beginning for the entire region.
Yeah,
Under
right,
your
Drusilla.
leadership, we can re-energize, well, I've got to contribute my own, we can re-energize the Abraham Accords. That's what it's called in the original Hebrew, Abraham. Abraham is fine.
And this is making me
Abraham,
so sad,
however you want
guys.
to call it. Under your leadership, Mr. President, we can re-energize the Abraham Accords that we forged 5 years ago. We can expand them to many more Arab and Muslim nations that choose moderation over extremism. I think there's an opportunity here. It's not going to be easy. It's tough going. But I think if we succeed, you're absolutely right. We're going to open possibilities that nobody even dreamed of. But I think we dream of them. As you've told me, Mr. President, and you've told the world many, many times, you said, remember October 7th. Remember October 7th. And we do. We will never forget
Remember the
the
Nakba.
horrors of October 7th.
Jesus
And
Christ.
we will do whatever is necessary to make sure they don't happen again.
Yeah, they should just kiss already.
Since October 7th, Israel's enemies have learned a hard truth. Those who attack us pay a heavy price. But those who partner with us advance progress and
100%.
security for their peoples.
Yep, Mithril.
President Trump just said it.
Oh,
It's also
I
in the
know.
Bible.
Me too,
It
Alan.
says, those who will bless you will
Like
be
I said, I got to be
blessed,
careful
and
about
those who
bed
will curse
posting,
you will be
Alan.
cursed. And that's actually what is happening. We
Agreed,
want the blessings.
Victoria.
I think we've done a lot in the past 2 years to end the curse. We're not finished. But
I
we've
don't
done
know,
a lot.
RPB, maybe.
And we've done a lot together to end the curse. I want to thank your entire team.
Yeah, insert name.
For
This
their
is really
efforts to get to this
disgusting.
point. I especially want to thank Steve Witkoff
That
and Jared
smug
Kushner
look on his face.
for their indefatigable
Oh.
work to bring Israel and
Ooh.
Arab states in the region closer together.
Alan, I think you know what I'm
deeply
talking
grateful
about.
to both of them for their work. We had a phone call today just to make it clear. I said to the Prime Minister of Qatar, Israel was targeting terrorists. Wasn't
Yeah,
targeting
the
Qatar.
children who did
And
nothing.
of course, we regretted the loss of the Qatari citizen. Wasn't our target.
Yeah.
And I very
You're right,
much
Drusilla.
appreciate President
I guess
Trump's
it's an
proposal
STD, Drusilla, that
to have a
talking a lot.
trilateral body,
Yeah,
the
so,
United
yeah.
States, Israel, and Qatar, to work out respective grievances. There are quite a few. But if we can try to
Yeah, like
mitigate
you
them or
bombing
put it on a
Qatar.
different footing, I think that would
I
be good
know,
for
right,
everyone.
Dolly boy? It's very overwhelming
Above
right now.
all the people, the fine team, many helpers who've done this, I want to thank you, Mr. President,
Yep, Alan, they did.
History
They
has
killed
already
American
shown
citizens.
that under your
Also.
leadership, Israel and America can change the face of the Middle East. And today I'm hopeful that
That's
your
for
plan to
sure.
end the
I
war in
agree with
Gaza
that statement. They can change
do
the
so
face of the
again
Middle East, can't they? They can
and do so
destabilize
soon.
it. They can
It will
murder
free our
thousands.
hostages, end Hamas's tyranny in Gaza, and enable a more secure and prosperous future for the peoples of our region.
Yep, Mithril.
Thank you, Mr. President. May God bless America. May God bless Israel. May God bless the indispensable alliance between our countries. And may I add in Hebrew, G'mal Chatima Tova, may we all be inscribed in the book of life. Thank you.
Big Brayton.
Thank you very much, baby. So I think while we wait for these documents to be signed and
All
get
right,
everybody
pizza.
in line, I think it maybe is not really appropriate to take questions. I'm meeting with, as you know, a couple of Democrats in a little while about the country, about keeping our country open.
For fuck's sake, right, Drusilla?
They're going to have to do some things because their ideas are not
Free
very good ones and
Palestine,
very
folks,
bad for our
please.
country. So we'll see how that works out. But this is something that was really historic today. This was something that was amazing. I think, Bibi, I mean, depending on you, I think while we're waiting for signatures and waiting for approvals from a lot of different countries that are involved in this, we probably shouldn't take questions? Or would you like to take a question or two from perhaps a friendly Israeli reporter, if there's such a thing?
Oh, my God.
That's a very, very tough proposition. But I would think, Mr. President, that I would go by
Demosthenes.
your instinct that this is, we'll have enough time for questions. Let's settle the issue first, I think. No.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yep. Almost certain, Alan, that they'll. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. That just was very depressing. Okay. Oh. All right. So obviously that's not like Bibi has no intention of ending ending the genocide. It's just kicking the ball down the road, kicking it down the road. Someone's going to shoot at someone, and then he's going to blame quote unquote Hamas and then use it as an excuse to break off the ceasefire. And they're going to continue slaughtering vast numbers of innocent people, genociding them, taking their land. Trump is going to keep getting on his knees for Netanyahu. I mean, do I even have to tell you folks this? I mean, I think you all know this. It's like so obvious, right? Yeah, right, JDH, it does. And by the way, yeah, so anyway, uh every day is a waking nightmare, isn't it? Fellow humans being murdered, children being murdered. Okay. Yep, that was a very they're right, Dally boy. Thank you. That it was a very dark look at the post-truth world we're living in, was it not? Okay. All right. Let me finish this up really fast. This is we're almost done with this. Like one more slide after this, I think. So, no, it's not really time. Yep, Meowsord, you're right. Okay, there's not really so there's no time for critical thinking and research, propaganda and public relations. I remember I said before how there is a massive billion-dollar industry about pumping out propaganda from almost every major corporation, government agency, nonprofit has these things. So you also have to contend with all that propaganda you're faced with, which makes it even harder to know what's true. Then most of our education is based around training people for jobs. So if you only know how to do, if you're only educated to do a job, that leaves a lot of holes in your knowledge, right? Which can make it harder to know what's true. Lastly, almost lastly, is that in this country, wealth gives you a megaphone, gives you a political megaphone. You can bribe people, you can create institutions that um, oh, Meowzord, this slide isn't on the Canva, but I'll go back to it right after this slide. Wealth, wealth gives you a megaphone. So that means that people with more money have a bigger voice and are more likely to be listened to, whether they're true or not. Lastly, what else? Can anyone think of anything else? Any other things about our economic system are, that contribute to uh, making it harder to know what's true or not true. So our economic system makes it really hard for people here to know what's true or not true. There's a lot of different things. You also just don't have much time off, right? If you're a parent, when the hell are you going to have time to actually see what's going on in the news and stuff? If you're doing a job and taking care of kids, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Okay. Yeah, media is a business. It's all about profits. You're right, Robert. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, encourages fear amongst the populace. 100% Mithril. Okay. You can't I lost my job because of saying something that was true. A lot of people, they don't you see what I'm saying, right? It's a pretty bad a bad idea to know the truth because if you do say something wrong, drop shipping 100%. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep, Meowzord. I don't know much about that, Meowzord, but I do know what you're talking about. Yeah, you're right. People don't trust politicians either. My uncle is a lower middle class American that is passionate about things like climate change, but votes Republican because he trusts them more. Yep. Mm-hmm. And that partially has to do with propaganda, right, Alan? Yeah, daunting idea. You're right, Demosthenes. Daunting idea to go back to school if you're already struggling with the cost of living, right? And I didn't even mention that. Remember how I said a lot of people will say Americans are so uneducated, but college is ridiculously expensive. And then it doesn't even guarantee you're going to be hired afterwards. Honestly, if I had a choice, folks, I might not have gone to college because I got a lot of debt. Uh, anyway, uh, hey guys, I get it. I know I'm kind of going right into this. Your brains are probably still dead from watching that press conference. But we're almost done here. I'm trying to distract myself a bit so I don't get too sad. Uh, yep. Yes, absolutely. So, insert name. That's a great point. What about for some people who hear the economy is doing great but don't have it personally reflected in their lives? Would that be an example of contributing to post-truth? Yeah, absolutely. We have wealth inequality causes certain people to experience certain things. If you're experiencing something that others are not, it makes it harder for the people that are not experiencing it to believe that other people in the country are experiencing it. Yes. Okay. So uh, I'm going to go on. We're almost done here. In conclusion, okay. So I'm trying to finish it up real fast. In conclusion, in the age of by the way, this is a good book if you're interested. Social Media and the Post-Truth World Order: Global Dynamics of Disinformation. Okay, in the age of unquestioned, if the age of unquestioned truth is over, how can we know what to believe? This is a quote from this book. Okay, Cosentino writes in the conclusion of Social Media and the Post-Truth World Order that we can no longer reach the truth, nor even get close, not because we lack information, but rather because of the sheer amount of conflicting, misleading, and constantly changing information that we are exposed to. He writes, too much information has cluttered our ability to form a rational opinion, and propagandists and demagogues know this all too well. That's kind of a black-pilled way of looking at that. Okay. The idea that, well, we can no longer really reach the truth because there's so much information out there and it all conflicts. All right. That you can't really blame people for not knowing. Okay. You're right, Drusilla. And that is another example of post-truth, Drusilla. People saying that the stock market is indicative of how people are doing in the economy. It is not. It is not. Okay. But it's often used to distract from how bad people are suffering. Okay. So just be aware of this stuff, folks, in regards to post-truth. We have access to more information than ever, but a lot of it is bad information. A lot of it is curated. A lot of it is propaganda. We are living in a post-truth era. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try and figure out the truth, but just be cautious about it. And remember that authoritarians and politicians use this against you. They know that there's a lot of information out there. They know that they can cloud the picture by just pumping out info to make the narrative foggier, which will then make you throw up your hands and go, well, I just don't know. Okay. I think the last slide here is this one. So real fast, we won't talk that long about this. What do you think we can do to think the problem of us being in a post-truth era? What are some ideas you have out there? One that I've heard before, I'm not saying I agree with this. It was just one that I've heard one academic said that we need to limit freedom of speech, which uh, I'm conflicted on. I don't know. Okay, but that's one. That's kind of a more severe one. Uh, uh, the other ones, Dally Boy, interesting. Yeah, regulate social media. There you go. Promote and provide better access to access to information. Correct insert name. That's another good one. Mithril, deconcentrate media ownership. Yes, destroy the monopolies. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. Um, I also think, as I always say, folks, something I think of is if we fix the underlying economic issues, people's material conditions, if they had more time to actually do research and to not just take on face value what they read, they had more time off work, if they had free healthcare, if they had things like that, that also might partially help the situation. Um, also, there's a lot of things. Also, holding politicians accountable who lie. All right. Uh, that is a more difficult thing to do, but yeah. Okay. Um, there's lots of things to do. Okay. I don't have a set answer for this, but I just want you guys to get you guys thinking about it. Yeah, Papadaka, you're speaking my language. Okay. Papadaka, the democratic solution is education. High schoolers should exist with the ability to find the truth amongst the lives by discernment. My high school taught this at least. You're 100% right, Papadaka. I've actually talked about this on stream before. I wish there was better media literacy education in American schools. I would do that when I taught. There's a lot of schools that don't do it, but we need much better media literacy in schools. Kids are oftentimes not explicitly taught to interpret sources, to read the media okay, responsibly. Pizza, yes, check every source you can, 100% pizza. Oh, I love that. I didn't think about that. That is a great idea. Who said that? Winterlinda. Yes, that is another problem that kind of drives me crazy is a lot of academics and scientists do not know how to talk to people who are not academics and scientists. All right. They will often speak in a condescending way or in a way that is hard for people not at their level of education to sort of understand. I'm not saying that in a condescending way. It's just that academic fields have a certain vocabulary and language they use for the sake of easy to make it easier for them to understand each other that they don't then interpret for everyone else. We need a better communicators that they're able to explain those things. The my most hey Alan, my most authoritarian view is we need re-education in this country. Everyone should have to take a mandatory classes, especially right wingers. Hey Alan, you're entitled to your opinion there. Okay, I've actually heard that before from some lefties. Obviously, I disagree with it, but I understand that perspective there, Alan. Human dignity shall be inviolable. Die Würde des Menschen ist unantastbar. For some reason, I had an issue with that last word. That yes, you're right. Human dignity should be inviolable. Okay. All right, guys. So we just did that. Yeah. Oh, I'd be okay with that, Meowzord. I think we do need a mandatory aptitude test for presidents. Yes, you're right. Forrest Valkai is a great science communicator. There's a lot of really good science communicators out there. So kind of insert name. It wasn't like re-education camps, but Germany was really good actually at uh, putting in their school systems after World War II a lot of education about the Holocaust and the dangers of war and nationalism and things like that. So yes, um, yeah, make falsifying data illegal. Hey, I support that, Macy, especially if it's data that can harm people. Um, I really like Brian Cox-Mithril. Hannah Fry's also really good. Yeah, there's some really good science communicators. There's especially in physics. There's a lot of really good ones. There's but a lot of other fields are a lot that aren't the best. Um, yeah. Okay, guys. So that's my presentation. After that shitstorm of a um, yes. Oh my God, Doug, you're right. I thought I'd seen that before. Yes, that's in the German Constitution. Fantastic. Okay. Uh, I know he is Mithril. Yeah. No, insert name, you're right. There are a lot of good science communicators out there. Yeah, Professor Dave is really good. That is very true. Uh, but I've also noticed that, like, I think most like scientists need to take some courses in communication or in education because a lot of scientists there are some good communicators out there, but I think all of them. I think that should be part of their public duty is to educate the populace and communicate things in a way that's comprehensible. Um, Okay. My face will come up. There it is. Okay. So, oh, okay. I'd be okay with that, Alan. That's a great. I'm okay with that. Yes. Okay. I understand, Alan. That's perfect. Okay, it's like classes. Okay, folks. So, I've got to use the restroom real fast. I'll be right back. Then I have some things to react to. Okay. Um, and then I'll be right back, and I'll react to a few things. Okay. So forgive me. Watching Trump made me want to expel all the filth from my body. Yeah, Demosthenes, that's very true. Do you know that immigrants are more likely to pass the citizenship test than native-born Americans? Which is very funny. Yeah, okay. All right. I'll be right back, folks. Hold tight, okay? I just got to use the restroom. And by the way, folks, if we get one more super chat, I'll put on the collar. Uh, okay, I'll be right back. Ugh. Hey, I'm back. I'm back. Let me do my little spiel here, folks. Still getting used to having to do self-promotion here. So for those that are watching, if you're on Twitch, you can subscribe for $5 or yeah, about $5 a month, and you won't have to see the ads anymore. You can also subscribe using Amazon Prime. Okay. You can also send bits. There's lots of other stuff you could do as well if you'd like. Follow me if you're not following me already. For those that are on YouTube, if you become a member for as little as 99 cents a month, you get a cute little gesture next to your name and some adorable little emojis. Okay. We currently have a goal of 5 super chats. If we get one more, I'll put on the collar. If we get 2 more after that, I'll put on the makeup. Okay. And by the way, folks, please join our Discord community if you haven't already. A link to the Discord is posted at the top of the YouTube chat. I also posted it as the first chat on Twitch. Okay. We have a really nice growing community there. Um, and you can also recommend for things for me to react to if you go to our Discord page. We have sometimes we have conversations on there in the voice chat that I would not be able to talk about on stream if you're interested in that. So please join our Discord page. Also, what else? What else? Am I missing anything, folks? What am I missing? Am I missing anything? Oh, yes, you can also send me if you want to do it anonymously, or you can also send me a message there on Buy Me a Coffee. In this lower right there, there's a QR code. You can just scan that, and you can send me some dough there too, please. Okay. All right. So let us continue. I have some things I wanted to react to. Okay. Let me put back my kafia back on here for the people of Palestine. All right. I was gonna try and tie it up, but I am way too I'm kind of incompetent. I need to look up how to like tie up a kafia and stuff. Um, and I knew I might have to put on the collar. Okay, guys. So all right. Let's see here. Did I miss anything while I was using the restroom? Did I Bill Nye was a great yeah, Brian Green's good. We need more Bill Nyes. That's amazing, Winterlinde. I wish, yeah, good science communicator. Meowsword, a lot of scholars come off as patronizing to the poorly educated too, which accelerates. Oh, 100% Meowsword. And that's why I'm saying, like, we need science educators to be more, they need to be better at communicating with people. Let's put it that way. Folks, I don't know if you notice, even I can come off as, at least I get the impression I can come off as patronizing. And, I don't mean to, but, like, you're not really taught in grad school. Like, you're taught to communicate with other, um, people in your field and stuff, and no one really ever teaches you to communicate with, like, regular people. Um, uh, 'Kay. Uh, yeah, I'm sorry, Alan. So let me clarify, folks. I said that Alan was in favor of re-education camps. I apologize. I misinterpreted what Alan said. Uh, Alan is not in favor of re-education camp. I'm sorry, Alan. Okay, I guess that's what I said that. Okay, I think having people go to a classroom like once a week and having them would be beneficial. That is okay. That's fair, Alan. Okay, I don't know why I misinterpreted that, Alan. Maybe because I think I've heard some other lefties say that, and maybe I assumed. My apologies, Alan. Okay, um, okay, guys. So oh, totally, Jonas. Absolutely. Yeah. Jordan Peterson is terrible at that. Okay. He is very um condescending. Okay. Meowzord, dance between intellectual poignancy and mass accessibility is difficult, right, Meowzord? Um, but like I think like I wish this might be my personal view. I wish a lot of academics and intellectual stuff took some education courses, like teaching courses, because I can promise you, teachers have known for a long time how to reduce like very complex topics into digestible bits, and things like that. And I feel like that kind of gave me a leg up because I was both a teacher in high school and I was an academic, so I feel like you can kind of bridge that gap. Um, okay, guys. Uh, totally, Jonas. Totally, you're right about politicians. Okay, so I have some things that I wanted to react to. Um, we got here. Let's see here. We've been going for okay. So okay, all right. Let's see what we got here. I have some things pulled up from the reactions channel. Let me get around. I'll make sure to put the scene back up here. All right. Ah, Don't know why my face isn't appearing. There it is. Okay. Um, let me get out of this. So,
Hey, just to remind all you blacks,
all
there
right.
was
So
a
I
difference
wanted to
that started
start.
the Confederate.
This kind of goes on what we're saying. Doug on the left posted this in our Reacts channel. This is from a while ago, but I think it's interesting. Speaking about post-truth, okay, and what we just watched with the monstrous murderer Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump. You all probably remember this. So Donald Trump has now passed two executive orders uh, combating. Yeah, absolutely. Pizza, you're right. Okay. Look for contradictions as well, right? Okay. So Donald Trump passed an executive order. So this is called like, so this is kind of what pizza's, well, not this, I guess this isn't exactly what pizza's saying, but a lot of times authoritarians use coded language that says one thing but means something else. Okay. So you remember when Donald Trump did the executive order 13899, which was a measure to combat anti Semitism. Okay. And it was directed at college campuses. And essentially, it, uh, it was claiming that students on college campuses face anti Semitism and on university and college campuses. Now, folks, there are already laws out there about this. Okay, it's not like there is a gap in the laws regarding anti-Semitism. There's already laws in place that protect people of any minority group from being targeted for their race, religion, et cetera, et cetera. So why then would he pass a law saying trying to go after anti-Semitism? That is because 100% Winterlinde, okay, definitely not the leader of the free world there, okay. Yeah. So, what do we think anti-Semitism means? Well, I think you all know what it means. It means criticizing Israel. So, this executive order, uh, basically saying it would interpret the nation's civil rights laws to ensure that they would protect American Jews to the same extent to which all other American citizens are protected. They already are. Oh, of course, Jonas. None, right? None. Jonas says, wonder what laws were passed to protect Muslims after 9/11. None. And this is exactly the point, Jonas. You are right. Okay. This is coded language. It's referring to cracking down on speech that it's negative of Israel. And remember what I said before, folks, too. This conflation of pro-Israel speech with anti-Semitism is actually anti-Semitic because it is claiming, it is making it seem that, being against a genocide and against what a government is doing means you're anti-Jewish, which implies that all Jewish people are pro-genocide. It is bad for everyone. Okay. So just a really interesting thing. Thank you for sending this, Doug. I had actually never read it. I had heard about it. And includes that saying Jewish students have faced an unrelenting barrage of discrimination, denial of access to campus common areas and facilities, including that is such bullshit. Okay. And intimidation, harassment, and physical threats and assault. Oh my God. Okay. A joint again. That was if that has happened, which I'm sure there's been some of that, because there is anti-Semitism out there that was already provided for under the law. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Insert name. Yep, he put a generalized ban on Muslim countries. Okay. Yeah, yep. That the title is literally a drug. I almost said a drug whistle. Okay, a dog whistle. Okay. Um. Uh. The federal government. Okay, this failure is unacceptable. Uh. Yep, policy. It shall be the policy of the United States to combat anti-Semitism vigorously, using all available and appropriate legal tools to prosecute, remove, or otherwise hold accountable the perpetrators of unlawful anti-Semitic harassment and violence. We all know what that means. Okay. Um. Yeah, you're right. That is so true. Pizza. Okay, it is so true. Um. Okay. So again, just wanted to briefly cover that. This is a perfect example of post-truth, right? The distortion of language. The word, the word anti-Semitism is one of those words that has lost its meaning, which is really bad for Jewish people. Okay, because it has been so conflated with criticism of Israel that real anti-Semites can get away with a lot more, right? Um, Okay, you're right, and you're totally right. Biden did it too. Biden cracked down on pro-Palestine speech. Okay, so anyway, okay, just and I know in the UK you guys are having something similar happen. Okay, okay, you all get that. Okay, I just wanted to quickly talk about that. It's very relevant to what we're talking about. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Thank you, Doug, on the left for that. That gave me a great little thing to talk about here. Okay, um, so is Trump failed here? You hear Trump failed? I don't think Trump failed is here. Okay. Um, all right. This was sent to me by AG. Was this AG? Are you here, AG?
Comical about it. Yeah, I'm like,
You here, AG? Just want to make sure. While I wait to see if AG is here, I will go to the next one. Okay. Who posted this one? The legal strategy that renders Citizens United irrelevant. Who was this? I can't remember off the top of my head. Are you here? We'll just watch some of them, but I'm just reminding myself what I got here. Let's watch. That was you. Okay, excellent, Papadaka. Then we'll watch that first. Okay, so Papadaka sent this. Thank you, Papadaka. So, this is a way to get around. So, if anyone knows what Citizens United is, okay, I haven't watched this, but I suspect I know what they're going to talk about here. Citizens United was that. Yeah, Jonas, by the way, I don't doubt that anti-Semitism exists. This is what Jonas says. Okay, AG, I'll watch yours right after this one, okay? I don't doubt that anti-Semitism exists, but we have several Western leaders being openly hateful towards Islam. Yeah, Jonas, I think I've said this before, Jonas. I feel like there are two kinds of discrimination and bigotry that are still kind of openly acceptable. Islamophobia. Oh, that's okay, AG. Islamophobia and transphobia. Like, I cannot tell you, Jonas, the number of times I was teaching and other teachers would say extremely Islamophobic things. And they wouldn't even know it was Islamophobic. They were so used to just saying it out loud and no one had ever pushed back before. Like, Islamophobia is still very acceptable in a lot of places in America. And it is really disturbing to me because you allow something like that to go on, it just results in dehumanization. Yeah, Doug on the left, great. Yes. There's also a lot of hatred towards people who are overweight, people who are obese. That's another one that's discrimination against obese people and stuff. That's gotten a bit better recently, but still not great. Okay. All right. So let's watch this. Papadaka said this. So Citizens United was that court case that basically the justices decide that campaign contributions are freedom of speech, and so you can't regulate the freedom of speech of corporations who are donating and the wealthy who are donating and things like that. So this is a oh, you're totally right, Drusilla. Totally. Okay. Think about all the ways they've tried to demonize Mamdani, like trying to relate him to the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Like, by the way, that is dangerous. Like, I think I've said this before. I am worried for Mamdani's life. Someone already was planning to kill him and was stopped. But like they're doing everything they can to associate him with terrorism because he's Muslim, doing everything they can to demonize him as a Muslim. Like it is scary. And they're open about it. And it's such an acceptable thing to do for a lot of people that it's not disqualifying for the people doing it, which is just shocking to me. Right? Can you imagine if Mamdani was a black man and they I don't even want to give examples. You can all guess. There would be a lot of backlash. There'd be a lot of backlash, even from some right-wing people, if he did that, but not for the Muslim stuff. Yeah, Jonas, you're right. Mamdani couldn't eat biryani with his hands. Yep, and they're all like, "Look at this barbarian, this savage eating like real batshit crazy stuff." Oh, excellent, Mithril, gladly. Okay, it is disgusting. Okay, so let's watch this real fast. This I guess they're I forget which organization it is. Let me double check here. Is trying to find a way to get around Center for American Progress, get around the courts and get around the federal government in order to enact changes to end Citizens United and get money out of politics. Okay, so this is pretty short. Let's watch it real fast. I'm going to make sure that it's turned on here.
Think dark money in politics is unstoppable? What if I told you your state could totally get rid of it? No Congress, no Supreme Court needed. You see, 15 years ago in the Citizens United decision, the Supreme Court said the government can't regulate the right of corporations to spend independently in elections. Ever since then, corporations and billionaires have poured unlimited cash into our elections. That drowns out our voices, fuels corruption, and undermines democracy. But here's the thing nobody tells you. States actually have the power to stop it.
They
Stay
do.
with me for a moment.
But
states create corporations, and corporations get every single one of their powers from the states. This includes the powers to own property or raise capital, sell products. Every one of these powers is granted by the state to its corporations. And for 200 years...
So, okay, I already see where he's going with this. So, yeah, so if states can actually hold a convention and pass a law change without Congress, okay, it's in the Constitution. That being said, I don't see that ever happening because many of the states are red. And a lot of the states are blue too, and a lot of those blue states don't want to change it either. But it is an interesting approach. It is another option. No, you're right, Jonas. They could, but they don't want to. This is a different way to get a constitutional amendment passed. But it's still, I don't think it would happen. But it is an interesting approach. There isn't only. Yeah, Papadaka, and it might Papadaka. It might pass in some places. So we'll see what happens. But this is a different approach that could be taken to try and overturn Citizens United.
The Supreme Court has said that states have absolute authority to define and redefine their corporations and set those powers. About 100 years ago, when states started competing for corporate registrations, they decided to give their corporations the power to do anything legal under the law. And when deciding Citizens United, the Supreme Court said, well, if corporations have the power to do anything legal and spending money in politics is legal, then that must include the power and therefore the right to spend in politics. But the court has never said that states have to give their corporations any one of these powers.
Oh, okay. This is actually a different approach.
Just stop doing so. Montana is working on a constitutional amendment that does just that. It basically says, hey, we never meant to give our corporations the powers to spend money in politics in the first place. And today we stopped doing so. That would kneecap dark money.
That's a really good idea. Again, I don't know. I'm kind of black pill. I don't see it happening. But yeah, you could just redefine a corporation as an organization that can't give money to politics. You don't even need a constitutional amendment. Well, okay. That's an interesting approach.
Montana, without waiting on Congress or the Supreme Court. It's not regulation, it's redefinition about what powers a corporation has, about what a corporation is. And that's the Montana plan. It's headed toward Montana's 2026 ballot right now. To read more, check out the link in the bio. And hey, share this with a friend who complains about dark money and doesn't think we can do anything about it. Let's show them that they're wrong.
Okay, so Papadaka, do you know, is that going to be like a ballot initiative so that the people of Montana vote on it? Because I may have been misinterpreting this from the beginning. I may have been a bit too harsh on it without knowing. It appears as though it was a ballot initiative. It's going to be a ballot initiative. That'd be an excellent way because then you could get around state legislatures. And I would bet that a lot of there'd be some Republicans who'd vote for that too, because a lot of MAGA people are anti-corruption. That's amazing. Okay, Papadaka, I've apologized for being so negative about it to begin with. That's actually a really good approach. I don't know how many states are allowed to do ballot initiatives. I know Ohio is, Montana is, I think California is too. There's a few other ones. But that'd be a great way, folks, if we start ballot initiatives to redefine what a corporation is. That's really clever. I actually had never considered that before. Okay, that's really cool. Thank you for sharing the Papadaka. We'll see how it goes. Oregon, thank you. Robert, Oregon too. That would be a great way to start doing it. That is true, Papadaka. It doesn't do any. That's fair. It doesn't do anything about super PACs. But I guess a step is still a step, right? But that's pretty interesting. Okay. That's a great approach. I need to look more into that. I like that idea. Okay. Thank you for that, Papadaka. Let's go. So, all right. So now this one was sent to me by AG, and I have not seen it, but I can kind of guess what's about to happen here because I think it's going to be about. Has anyone ever heard of the? Oh, is that so, Papadaka? Okay, interesting, Papadaka. Okay, I guess Florida also has it. Oh, Jonas, I agree. I think, and honestly, Jonas, I think we're already almost there. And I think most Americans are already there, Jonas. Uh, okay. So, like, but there are so many barriers to the people of the United States getting their way that it is very hard for the will of the American people to be enacted. Um, is that so? Oh, I didn't know because in Ohio, the legislature cannot veto a ballot initiative. I see what you're saying, Doug, on the left. Interesting. That's an but that's really interesting. I'm glad Papadakis showed that because that's not something I'd considered. I guess I'm not a lawyer, right? But that's fantastic. So, okay. Um, okay. So this guy here, Alan, I have not verified this guy's credentials. That's a fair question. Alan, a hero for our post-truth era. Um, Drusilla, okay, yeah. Oh, I forgot about that, Drusilla. We'll watch that at some point. Okay, I know I keep saying it. Okay. So, but we'll watch this real fast. So, for those who know, okay, that's so cool. I didn't know that. Really, I've never heard of this guy. He was an undercover FBI infiltrating N30 Nazi. Oh my God, that is scary. What a hero. Okay. Okay, so he is going to be talking from what I read from AG's mention in the Discord about a non I love you, Drusilla. My apologies. Okay, so a not a Nazi white supremacist terrorist organization called the Order. I know a lot about the Order just because I had to do with my studies of fascism in America and stuff. So if what you guys are saying is true, he must have infiltrated them, which is super interesting. So let's see what he's going to tell us here about the Order. As far as I know, I'm not sure where the Order is hanging out these days. Are they still in Virginia, or are they? I bet he'll tell us. But their leader I know lives in Russia and kind of directs the group from there. Um, uh, Varionis, okay. He infiltrated the base. Amazing. Amazing. Jonas, I'd be interested to hearing about that. Um, I agree, Drusilla. I agree. Okay. Um, and maybe after this, Drusilla, we'll get some hope. I got to torture all of you a bit first, though, right, Drusilla? Okay. Hello, Jay Shao. So let's watch what he has to say here. I guess so. Is this guy? I'm guessing this is the guy who did the infiltrating. Okay. So we'll see what he says.
I should know these are. I'm like, we thought we were going to meet the husband. Okay, we thought it was his deal, and then we go into the garage, and he's like, "Well, really, that's my."
I know he told me like a little bit further ahead. Oops. 1 second here.
Let's talk about the base then. So
Okay, here we
I
go.
guess I hadn't heard of this group or even groups like this prior to hearing you talk about
A lot of people have. A lot of law enforcement hasn't.
I bet, man. And it's pretty shocking stuff that we'll be talking about. But I guess similar to the Outlaws, just explain to people kind of what this group's ideology is, and then how you ended up getting into it.
Sure. So the accelerationist
Ah,
white supremacy.
yeah. So we've talked a little bit about acceleration on stream before. Accelerationist white supremacists believe in basically prompting a race war. Okay, by using violent means of resistance to do it. So like terrorist attacks, violent training for military action and things like that. They're terrorists. Okay, they are white nationalist, white supremacist, Nazi terrorists who try to prompt a race war, partially because of that book, The Turner Diaries, which we've talked about before. There are a few of those in the United States. They're very small, but they exist, and they oftentimes kill people, etc. Did I say the Order or did I say the base? My mistake. If I said the Order, I get them mixed up sometimes.
View goes like this. Number one, they hate the government. So don't think
Yeah.
Republican, Democrat, right, left. That's not it. They hate the government. They want a Hitler's Germany.
So they actually have a phrase, the base does. So do a lot of these groups. Okay. They use the phrase ZOG, Z-O-G, to describe the government a lot of the times. And you know what ZOG stands for? Zion Occupied or Zionist Occupied Government. Now, while many of you may hear that and think, well, kind of is occupied by Zionists, they don't mean that when they use the word Zionist. Okay, they mean Jews. They believe that the government is overrun by Jews. Okay. Um, and yeah, so they don't trust the government. They think it is the Zog. It is Zion occupied. And okay,
That's what they want, which is what a neo-Nazi usually wants anyway. But with accelerationists, they go about it by different means. An accelerationist is their views are this: they don't believe there's a political solution that can save the white race. They believe that society is going to collapse on its
oh, I
own,
know.
or from
We're so under threat, aren't we, fellow white people out there? We are the most threatened group. We're the most threatened group in the world. There's no saving us. Oh,
man-made events, and they want to accelerate. They want to speed up the collapse of society because in their mind, when the collapse of society happens, then they can come in, clean house, and have their own ethno-state. That may
yep.
not necessarily mean the entire United States, but I can tell you that when I was in the base, my cell, CELL, was looking at property. My cell and the Maryland cell were looking at property in the Appalachian Mountains.
Absolutely, Nelson.
There was a Northwest, Midwest, Detroit, out of Detroit area in Michigan. They were looking at property in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. The Pacific Northwest, they already had property. The leader
Yeah.
of
Yeah, I think I've talked about before. So the Pacific Northwest of the United States, Robert may know about this. Yeah, I know, Alan, Detroit. So in the upper northwest region of the United States, there's a lot of white supremacists who have attempted to form what they call the Northwest Territorial Imperative, which is they want to basically flood the Northwest United States, Oregon, Washington, Utah, Idaho, places like that with white supremacists, and then create their own white ethno state there, because a lot of that area is not heavily populated, and they feel they can overrun it and create the Northwest Territorial Imperative. So a lot of white nationalist groups live up there. I know, right, Jonas? Yeah, and might be why we need to get rid of guns.
base had property in the Pacific Northwest. So that kind of compound idea, we run our own thing. We are our own doctors and everything. Again, not a
That's
lot of
kind of
afterthought on
dumb.
some of that stuff,
Yeah.
but that's the idea. And they want to do it through like
Yeah,
guerrilla
the
warfare
three percenters.
tactics. You're not going to see an
Guerrilla warfare
accelerationist out on the
tactics.
street in a hood and a robe, or walking down the
Right,
street
Alan.
with signs.
Oh, Alan, I gotta tell you, you should look up, go to that hate map I showed you guys that one time on stream. There are a lot of white supremacists and neo-Nazis in Detroit. A lot, a lot, a lot. And there's a lot of groups like that that operate out of there. Um,
Protesting and yelling racial slurs. They don't want to do that. They believe, number one, that makes them a mark, lets everybody know who they are, and it does no good. What they believe is,
yeah,
let's do guerrilla
Alan.
warfare tactics. Let's do small attacks, like we take out a power plant or power grid. We take out a water system.
Yeah,
by
Doug on the
poisoning it.
left.
You kill lefties. You kill anti-fascists. You kill non-whites. Burn their businesses, stuff like that, slash their
It
tires.
is depressing to Zilla.
Anything to create chaos, to start the downfall of society. So a lot of times when I'm teaching, I say, like, remember that year when everything
Doug.
was being burnt and towns were being they're
And by the way, there have been incidents where I know, Alan, a lot of these ideas became mainstream. Someone, I think, was it Jonas who mentioned previously that like a lot of the things people believe are kind of mainstream ideas now. A lot of the violence isn't, though admittedly, folks, notice how he's saying that they want to go after lefties, Antifa, and look what the Trump administration is doing, okay?
on a hill and they're laughing. They're like, man, we hope the cops start shooting these people start shooting the cops, when we can come in and clean up afterwards. And that is one of the plots we uncovered in that case. Something very similar. They were going to start popping rounds at a Second Amendment gun rally.
Jesus.
Protest that was going to be in January.
How did I'm sorry. Is it because I'm a gay man? I would not be able to do what he did. I don't know about all of you. I would not be able to embed myself in with the base Okay, like I don't know he must have a very hefty set of balls on him because I don't know how uh yeah, you're right. Papadaka, yeah, the Weather Underground, the Weathermen, they did that. They blew up buildings and stuff, but they made sure there was no one in them, as you just said, Papadaka. But yeah, so uh more selective kind of terrorism, I guess you could say. Of course, these guys want to kill people. Um, Yes, yes, he did, AG, you're totally right, which makes sense of why they moved there, Harold Covington, right? Fascinating, AG.
21 in Virginia, because the governor at that time was a Democrat who was running pretty tough on gun control. So they knew that like militia, Second Amendment, 3%er people would be there.
Okay, fair,
They
Doug,
knew there'd
yeah.
be protests.
I don't know why I mentioned I'm a gay man, because I'm sure a lot of the straight folks out there wanna be able to do it either, but yeah. Uh, is that so, Messer? I need to read more about him. Uh, yeah.
And probably cops, and their idea was, hey, if we can pop a couple of shots, maybe nobody knows who's it coming from, and everybody just starts shooting each other. Maybe that's the beginning of the Boogaloo D-Day.
Oh, yeah, the
Um,
Boogaloo, which is another kind of phrase for, like, the race war that'll break out, 'kay. Yeah, yes, it is, John Gray. Welcome back, John Gray. I don't think I've seen you for a while, John Gray. Glad to have you back. Oh, I know, Jonas. Jonas, you're on fire today. Jonas says it's just depressing that you have several groups like this, but spend hours on CNN discussing trans men in sports. Oh, I know, Jonas. And you know what, Jonas? You know that during Trump's first term in office, he got rid of the Department of the FBI responsible for tracking domestic terrorists, which their job was to track people like the base. Yeah, I don't think they might not even be on the terrorist watch list anymore. So that's rather disturbing. And yet Antifa now are. God help us all. Hello, Michael. Okay.
but I will also say that what I learned through time of being in the movement and working those types of cases and developing sources of information afterwards is that when we were doing the base and there was Adam Waffen, that was kind of like the two main
Jonas, you're
accelerationist
right.
groups.
Oh
Everywhere
God,
else was
Adam
kind of
Waffen.
considered cringe.
Yeah,
Um,
Atom Waffen. Atom Waffen is a neo-Nazi terrorist group.
by the
Oops.
time, let's just say a year or two after we took down the base, like we were being told that 90% of your white nationalist groups were all claiming accelerationism. And that's not good. And also, in most accelerationist groups that I was aware of, if you scratch the surface enough, whether they say they're pagan or the Christian identity, most of the ones I interview were pagan.
To start a podcast with Riverside, all you need is a concept and a way to record it. Here's how it works.
Of
But
course,
that's not to
Druzilla.
say that they're pagans for real. Just like white supremacists take
Yep.
the Bible.
Oh, yeah, so a lot of, these white supremacists, they use pagan iconography, like, they use Thor's hammer and stuff. For all the pagans out there, I mean, they're not, like, real pagans, though, like, as in, these kind of guys are not they have this weird, German, white blood and soil kinda mixed with paganism. Like, it's not what you would traditionally view as paganism, it is a very warped vision of paganism. Just like the Christian identity movement is a very warped idea of Christianity. If you guys are interested, maybe I'll do a presentation on Christian identity sometime. But that's a really bizarre. Yeah, right, AG, absolutely. Yeah, see you exactly. Insert name. See you in Valhalla, Charlie. Yeah. Oh, I know, Drusilla. It makes my blood boil too. I know a lot about the Vikings, and I know that that is not the same kind of way they would have used the runes. Yet, oh, Sophia, welcome, Sophia. Sophia, you're speaking my language. That is a well-known fact amongst a lot of academics of fascism. Fascists are kind of funny because they're very uncreative people, so they always steal things from other cultures and places because they can't create their own shit, and then they rework them for their own purposes. Even the swastika was stolen. Um, Right, Michael? It tricked me when I first saw the insert name thing. Okay.
To come up with the stories for Christian identity, which is not Christian. It's not Christ following. It's called Christian identity. It was totally white supremacist. They were doing that with paganism. I've got good friends who are pagans.
Is it? Okay.
Peaceful,
Yeah, sir.
spiritual people.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
And what the white supremacy movement was doing with that, kind of
Sophia.
like Hitler, he was looking at Norse mythology and stuff like that as well.
Okay, so okay, I know I'm nitpicking here. He's not 100% right about that. Hitler wasn't that into Norse mythology. He was basically an atheist. A lot of the people, he knew about Norse legends and stuff, but like it was the people around him who were really into that stuff. Himmler was really into that stuff. A lot of the top Nazis were. Hitler actually kind of was annoyed by it. Not that he didn't mind the iconography and stuff, but he wasn't really a pagan. But anyway, but the point he's making is true. Like Hitler's movement was definitely into that stuff.
They're taking it and twisting it to their own ideology.
You're right, AG.
But what we found is if you scratch enough in a lot of these groups, there's usually a member of Order of Nine Angles, or there's some other groups out there now, and those are heavily satanic white supremacy groups. And when you look at Order of Nine Angles and others of that nature, they are big. At least they're
100%, Jonas.
And if you get into their chat rooms, you're going to see some horrific stuff.
So, folks, I've been in their chat rooms. Okay, let me put it this way. I don't know if I even want to tell you the name of the website. Many of you have probably heard the name of this website. It's called Stormfront. It is like a massive far right-wing fascist neo-Nazi chat room forum. Okay, I know, Drizella. Well, so when I was doing research and stuff, I did go on there under the guidance of a professor and things like that to just look around to see what kind of shit was on there, to kind of get a feel for the ideologies and stuff. Okay, it is. I've never gone back on, obviously, because it was really traumatizing. Like, you have to understand, folks, I doubt any of us have ever lived or been surrounded by neo-Nazis. I mean, if you're in America, maybe you have, but you have to. How dare you, Malzord? Actually, that's true, Malzord. Maybe you could phrase it that way, okay? Yeah, Jonas, I know, right? And like, these people's worlds are really depressing and really dark. Okay, like, you can understand why they think the way they do, because the violence there is so normalized, the hatred is so normalized, the disgusting posts they put there. How dare you, Drizella? Okay, yeah, you're right, Alan. The FBI is working on infiltrating online neo-Nazi groups. A lot of these school shooters came from. 100%. Okay, yeah, it was pretty awful, Sophia. Now, it was. I had like a VPN and stuff, like, or all these things you do to make sure that no one knows you were there and things like that. I never have made any comments. I was just kind of looking around. Yeah, 4chan too, Meowsword, but like these communities are really disgusting. It's like a different planet. Anyway.
They're big on sexual abuse, rape,
Yep.
and
Oh my
pedophilia.
God, yes. Oh, they know. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Oh, yep.
Big on it, like how or why? Like
Advocating for it.
How do you? But what's the justification there?
I don't.
I got to admit, though, folks, when I did do this, I got very high. Very high. I made sure I was intoxicated to make it go down easier. Let's put it that way. Oh, Alan, I thought you were referring to like left-wing groups. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, of course not. Of course they're not doing that, Alan. Of course they're not infiltrating the right-wing groups. Okay. I love Zone of Interest. Highly recommend it. Thank you, insert name. Right now, Zord, it is like if the chimpanzees had a chat room. Thank God for marijuana. Let's put it that way.
I didn't. Fortunately and unfortunately, I didn't get to infiltrate one of those groups. But yeah, I mean, this coming out more now. It's just satanic stuff, man. So
Yeah. So I don't know if he's going to talk about this. I actually I pulled up an article right when I saw AG's post about this that I had read a while back. Okay, it's this one right here. These folks, when he said that satanic stuff they did, this article right here, I think there's a paywall on it, but New indictment shed light on alleged terror cell in Rome, Georgia. So the base, I don't know how to phrase this without let's put it this way. They would sacrifice animals and drink their blood. That sounds crazy. They were actually indicted for it and found guilty. They do shit like that. They do these weird satanic rituals. I know this sounds like I'm full of shit. I am not full of shit. That's the kind of crazy nonsense that the base does. And a lot of these right-wing terror groups do weird ass religious rituals and shit. Um and yeah, they were indicted for this. And what's funny is that the right wing is always screaming about how the left wing, the elites and stuff, are drinking the blood of children and all this other crazy and nonsense. And this group is always accusing. Um, no, Alan. Well, I'll get back to that now. Okay. These groups are always accusing Jewish people of drinking the blood of Jewish children. Like, not even joking. It's called the blood libel. And yet they are literally drinking the blood of animals. Anyway, it's really gross. Okay, exactly, Mithril. They're not like real Satanists, okay? Like, they're not like Church of Satan people. They are LARPing what they think a Satanist does, okay? I actually love the Church of Satan. It's for example, it's mainly a bunch of atheists who do it for the sake of well, there's different strands of Satanism. I don't want to get into it, but yeah, anyway. So Alan, luckily, Alan, there are not millions of people in this organization. The last I read, I believe that it's between 70 and 100 people that are part of the base. There might be more by now, but there's not that many. Because it'd be hard to. They're a very small group. There are more groups like them though, so they're not the only small group. Yeah, yeah. So they're not, but a lot of their ideas are mainstream. But yeah, okay. All right. So let's continue here.
If I'm painting it into the siege culture, which is that accelerationist view, probably when the boogaloo happens, they're saying they're just going to rape kids and women all they want. Because people in the base said that. They were like, hey,
Yep.
because I told them, I'm like, hey,
Again, this obsession with assaulting children and women, like they're constantly accusing other people of being pedophiles, of being blood drinking Satanists, things like that, like chimpanzees. So exactly. So it is like, and yet they're the ones that want to do that stuff. To be honest, a lot of deer hunters say you have to take a bite of your first deer's heart raw. You won't get another one again. I didn't. There you go, Jay Shadow. Okay. Oh, I'm excited, AG. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I know I keep stopping at AG, but this is super interesting stuff.
Hey, I see we're always talking about this. We're going to get our own ethno-state. We're neo-Nazis. Yeah, bam, 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 bam. I haven't heard you guys talking about getting our own compound or getting our own ethno-state. I haven't heard any of you guys talk about procreation for the white race. You know what I mean? And I've got a woman, but she's not being shared. So, and that's when the two of them were like, oh, we're just going to rape the women. And
Jesus Christ.
And I smirked, and I looked at the one guy who had a girlfriend, and I go, you guys don't have a lot of experience with women, do you? And they're like, what makes you say that? And I go, that might work for a little while, but at some point you're going to have to go to sleep, and you might wake up missing a few parts, So, yeah, but it just gets dark. You can just see some really bad stuff. So we started hearing about the base, I think originally from our world working partners, because it wasn't just American. It was a worldwide transnational ties. I mean, we had members in Russia. The base. It ebbs and flows. Some come in and leave, but we had members in Australia, Canada, South Africa, Germany, UK. I think Norway too.
Oh my God, Drusilla.
So how do you
I didn't know actually that it was in all those countries. So there might be more than 100 now
to the base.
Well, they were actively recruiting.
Did you hear that, Drusilla?
Did, which is another scary thing. Kids
and friends from the UK,
or you're hitting these things where you're like Discord, Telegram, Gab, There was Wire, Riot, Threema, 4chan, 8chan, 12chan. There's all kinds of stuff. There's probably well more now.
I don't know,
But
Drusilla.
all of those kind of sell as being encrypted, kind of like a WhatsApp kind of thing. So being encrypted,
Yeah.
and you can do vocal calls on it, or you can talk, or you can just post. And
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not
was it
saying that,
Jonas
of course,
talking
all
about
that's
young
not set up
guys
for
getting
bad
involved
things,
in
but
this
I'm
shit
telling you, bad
online?
people go there to use that stuff. So they were recruiting actively on Gab, and I went in there and I answered some of their stuff. They always left their email at the bottom, and save your race, join
Yeah,
the
AG.
base, show some training, and then there would be a propaganda video for recruitment. And once I got in the group, the standard was this: every video we did for propaganda had to be better than the
Mithril.
last one. That was the rule. It's got to be better than the last one. Got to be bigger and better to recruit more. So I answered, and after about a week or so of going back and forth in emails, being drilled and grilled on all kinds of things, I'm answering them, and then I was told to download the Wire app and
Jesus Christ, this guy
hit
got
their
deep.
moniker, and I got my moniker, and I ended up doing. It was the July of 2019. I did about an hour and 15-minute panel interview on Wire. I mean, it's probably like four. I think I've counted like 4 or 5 voices. I knew the leader's voice. He went by the monikers Roman Wolf and
Of course. Can they be any less creative? Roman Wolf. Jesus Christ. Like, just throw it. Like, it's like they took a bag of, like, words and just pick out, like, oh, let me just throw a bunch of, hyper masculine words associated with Europe and, like, animals and shit, and we'll pull them out of a bag, and there's my name. Roman Wolf. Jesus.
Norman Spears. Roman Wolf and Norman Spears. His real name is Ronaldo Nazaro.
Yep, who now lives in Russia as an exile.
An American citizen. Army. Intel.
Jesus Christ, Malzor, this
Had
guy's
some kind of
brave.
contracting job with the Department of Justice at one point. Villanova grad, but somewhere in there took a radicalization turn. And
Did he go to a
now
MAGA rally
resides
or
in St.
something? Is that what
Petersburg,
happened?
Russia.
Yep,
With
Russia.
a Russian wife and Russian kids. And I would bet, even though I'm retired, I would bet he's
Right,
still on a
Mithril.
no-fly list.
Yeah.
But yeah, they would always say, "Well, he's not the leader. There's no leader in the Bay." He was clearly the leader. I mean, he was the leader. I mean, he would hit me on the side. Hey, you've been a great asset to the ranks. You're really killing
What a
it out
moron.
there, and,
Couldn't even tell that the guy was a
Had
Fed.
we not uncovered things, we might have pushed it farther, and maybe be my own cell leader or something. I don't know. But we started uncovering murder plots and crazy. I mean, they were saying crazy stuff, but again, saying crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You got to kind of get really specific
Victoria.
on, like, I'm going to kill you kind of thing in a text or an email. That's a little more direct. And now I can say, yeah, you're clearly threatening me now. But just to spew hate, I mean, you can walk out in the street and say, I hate every.
Oh, I get it,
racial
Jonas.
slur
I don't
on.
blame you. Bear pig.
So you're sitting there, you're listening to all this crazy rhetoric, and sometimes there might be some alcohol, sometimes not. And now you're starting to hear, like,
You're right, Malzorn.
When the boogaloo happens, I love my parents with all my heart, but I'm going to have to ask the question: are you fascist?
You're right, Doug, on the left.
And if the answer is no, that automatically makes you anti-fascist, and the penalty's death.
Which, again, that's being normalized by the Trump administration, the anti-fascist stuff.
I have to put a bullet in my back of my dad's head. And then the other one says, I could do it, but I'd cry myself to sleep every day. I think I'd rather somebody else do it. And then the other one, who I thought was way more farther down the path, because he was messing with 09A and stuff, actually said, you guys are farther than me. I don't think I could kill my parents. And I'm sitting there just listening going, what in the hell, man?
God,
would you say that if your dad
it's like a
was sitting
fever
here right
dream.
now? That's what I'm saying. Like, what are we? And then if you want to say, oh, they're just kids going through a phase and they're spewing shit. Okay. But then they took overt acts in furtherance of those crimes,
Yeah, but it's almost like they're like massively toxic masculinity. Like, yeah, I'd kill my parents. Yeah, I bet you wouldn't kill your parents. Yeah, bro. Yeah, like it's like dick measuring contest for a lot of these folks. because they view violence and stuff as a masculine thing. Again, toy, if you don't mind putting in the chat the emoji that indicates what I'm talking about, the little hand emoji you like to use. Yeah, Jonas, I do wonder what Hicks's answer would be.
Scouting houses, going by the house, looking to where they thought an Antifa couple lived. I was there. You know,
Antifa couple?
Look at it. Talking
Thank
about
you,
what we're
toy.
gonna do. The game
Perfect.
plan changed a few times, but you're talking about going and buying catch bags that attach to your AR. So if you do have to shoot, it catches the brass so you don't leak.
Yeah.
You're talking about using a revolver.
You're right, Meowsword.
Using a silencer so no brass is ejected. You're talking about research that has been done to the point to where we're going to leave all of our electronics at a campsite. We're going to go to a pay-by-the-hour motel. We're going to scrub ourselves, make sure there's no dead flake skin that can come off.
Goodbye, Mithril.
Vaseline on facial hair. Balaclavas so nothing drops. Like hazmat, you're going to tape your sleeves to your gloves.
Oh, no,
your pants to your boots. And the eventual plan was four of us were going to enter. One was going to stand guard at the front bay window.
God.
While me and the other one, I was requested to go and help murder everybody.
Jesus.
And
okay.
It didn't matter if there were kids or animals. They didn't
Oh,
care.
my God.
And
I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised at this point.
And burn it to the ground.
Okay, guys. I'm going to pause it there. That was super interesting. I love hearing the recruiting and stuff. Maybe we'll watch more of this some point. I need to look more into this guy. From what you all were telling me in chat, looks like he's done a lot of this stuff. It'd be interesting to see more about it. Okay, one second. I'm going to put my face back up here. Okay, guys. So, thank you, by the way, so much for that, AG. That was super interesting. I hope. Oh, you're so right, Doug. You're so right. Okay, so guys, I've been streaming now for over 3 hours, I believe. Yes. So I'm going to get off now. Thank you for everyone who donated, et cetera, et cetera. I know this was kind of a dark stream today. Druzilla, we'll watch the burning thing tomorrow. How about that? Okay, we'll kind of bring it back around a little more of a hopeful message, I suppose you could say. That was super interesting, and I'm going to be doing other presentations about the Nazi movements and stuff in the U.S. at some point. Okay, folks. So, thank you everyone for donating, et cetera. I'm going to get off now. I'm going to go eat and stuff. And on that note, folks, thank you all for watching. I'll come back on tomorrow. I'm very glad to be back here. Okay. Thank you, Drusilla. Okay. All right, guys. So don't lose hope, folks. There are other things we can do to resist. Okay. There's still more of us than there are of them. Okay. All right, guys. Everyone ready? Are you all ready? You all know what I'm going to say. First of all, free fucking Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, okay? Free Palestine. Second of all, never stop resisting. The easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves. The easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves. That includes when you watch me. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I'm just a human. Don't get caught in an information silo. See what other people are saying, because the easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves. Thirdly, we are living in a fascist moment in this country, not only in this country, but around the world. The UK is going through something is going through something like this too. Elsewhere in the world is going something like this too. Fascism arrives in a country when people have lost faith in their democratic institutions, so they turn to more radical political ideologies when they feel that they've been alienated from their democracies. The way to fix that is with major reforms. We need major reforms in this country, not only in this country, but in other countries around the world. You cannot stand in the center. If you stand in the center, the fascists will walk all over you. They'll walk all over you. We need major reforms. Let's get those major reforms done, folks. On the wall behind me is a sword. The name of that sword is Chainbreaker. Chainbreaker it has been passed down in my family for many years. It is thought to have been responsible for the death of 7 slave owners. Why do I have it back there? I have it back there to remind everyone that our ancestors all across the world have made major sacrifices for some of the things we have today, including their lives. Okay, we cannot let their sacrifices go their waste, and let their sacrifice give us strength and bravery. Okay, in the face of fascism, we cannot let their sacrifice go to waste, and always, always, always fight for a better future so that they do not go to waste. And on that note, folks, you have a good night, morning, evening, afternoon, day, wherever you may be in the world. Bye-bye.